Fill her up.
You're listening to the Gas Digital Network.
Gerard Michaels here, and to my left, at 6'3", 200 pounds, and every one of them is a problem. The CEO of the RNC, the master of punks, the tamer of sages, the king of the ring himself, pretty Mickey Gall. What's happening, Mick? What's happening?
What's up, baby?
How you doing, bro?
I'm doing pretty good. I thought I was going to do the intros today.
Go ahead. Why don't you intro the next guy?
Well, what about yourself, pal?
Go for it.
Across me, I don't know if he's the strongest funny guy in the world or the funniest strong guy. His intentions haven't really been, recognized yet. He's a liberator of man and minds. He's Gerard the Truth Michaels.
Oh, I love that. That was
Like
money
that
right
shit?
there,
Yeah.
baby. That was money. And we are joined today by royalty. Look at this regal bastard.
He's regal
British are
indeed.
How are we?
We're good.
The British are coming. The British are coming.
Listen to that, but yeah, so over here we got, and we're crackling a little bit. We're going to power through it.
I don't think
we got-
I'm on.
Stop fucking touching it,
Yeah,
bro.
definitely don't touch it.
That's what she said.
definitely lay off. Yeah, all right, I'm clearing up a little bit here. So we got TUCO in the house.
Yep.
TUCO, one of the definitely the coolest Brit I know. One of the coolest motherfuckers.
Coming for Litton for so hard.
Oh, shit.
Coming for Litton hard.
Shit. Damn. All right, cut that part out. Well, Litton hasn't come on the podcast yet. You know, he's about to fight. He's about to fight Bader and shit. Now he's big time, and he's about to go get his belt. You know what I mean?
Damn.
Yeah, but over here we got TUCO. You got to be one of them, like Mr. Congeniality in the gym. Everybody loves. I don't know one guy who doesn't love TUCO. Everybody loves TUCO. TUCO's probably the most prominent corner in the world right
Is that
now.
right, really?
Thank you.
Hell yeah, he's been making everybody 50 G's. You go in there with TUCO, you're probably about to make yourself an extra 50 G's in a fight.
What are you standing at, Tuco? You 6'3", 6'4"? What are you at?
My driver's license says 6'4", but I think I'm 6'3" and a half.
Bro, he's 6'4", I'm 6'3", and our knees are damn near kissing over here. That's right. I don't know why we didn't stuff someone on that side.
Because it's a width issue.
it's a girth
camera issue.
It's a girth
It's
thing.
about a girth thing. You know, this is yeah, man. Well, that's the hot seat, Mick. That's the hot seat.
Yeah, true. Look at him. He came in in his red coat.
He's
The
ready
British
to go.
are here.
like
The
we're
British,
supposed-
we're back.
Like we should be worried about that red right
Came
now.
for your taxes.
The red. Yeah, but y'all want a rematch?
He's colonizing.
Oh, y'all want to do this again?
Well, they had to rematch in 1812, and they was putting the boots to us.
They're
bad.
fucking us up a little bit?
We had outside interference. We had Napoleon come in with a chair right when we were about to get pinned.
Yeah.
The British came back in the War of 1812 and put the boots to us.
Yeah.
Bad. Yeah. And before that, they were provoking the shit. Just because we teach history so poorly in America, and probably on purpose, but like, there's this idea, there's this mythology that like we won the Revolutionary War, and the British were just like, well, good on you, chap, and see you in World War II. You know, like that's not the way it happened at all. The king was pissed.
Yep.
We were your Vietnam. Like, they could have really steamrolled us any time they wanted, but we were people's cousins. We were like, it was a very unpopular war back home. And it really started because we were ungrateful peasants. We, the British crown was sick of paying for all these
So
frontier
you're not
wars.
going to shame him into taking off this red coat? Is that
No,
what
like
I'm-
there's,
Seems like you're giving mad props.
No. I mean, listen.
Well, Gerard, it's actually...
We had to bail them out twice, otherwise he'd be speaking German right now. Not with this silly little accent.
back-to-back World War champs.
That's right,
Right.
back. Strap
That's right.
strap them up, baby.
You don't know. Like, it's still ongoing. That's why I'm here today. This is like the beginning of the new insurgency. I'm a British spy here. We're going to start it back up.
Oh, as long as you're not, wearing World Economic Forum gab.
Yeah, that's
you're
what I'm saying.
welcome
I'm
here.
not as worried about them. I'm more worried about freaking China and Russia, what they got going on over there.
Imagine
That's
if
what
I
you
showed
should
up
be.
in China dressed like this.
Yeah.
Colonize them.
Bro, I'm sweating my fucking bollocks off. I had this thing on for 5 minutes. I don't know how those drag queens and shit do it. With wigs and all that shit.
Well, it turns out they get pretty angry. Is how they do it. But TUCO, is that your government night, bro?
I love when Americans do a British accent. It's the best thing ever.
I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah,
It
that
pretty
was
good
alright.
little Cockney.
I'm gonna have to like living in America, navigating America as a Brit is like difficult. But I've been here for 5 years. I've had to change my accent somewhat.
Well, you're not really in America. You're in Florida.
Yeah, true. Yeah, America. Florida is America.
Yeah, it's America.
When I land back in Florida, if I've been traveling, like if I go from New York to Florida, as soon as I land, I go, oh, it feels good to be back in
Brother,
America.
it's weird that you said that. I got in last night at 4 o'clock. I was stuck in JFK for 12 freaking hours.
Oh, man.
And as soon as I touched down, I was like, I felt the weight come off my shoulders.
breath of
feels
fresh
good to
air,
be back
right?
in America.
I was just sitting there, getting angrier and angrier, just death staring people wearing their masks at JFK, just like, take it off. Take it off. Take it off. Like, I'm just getting angrier and angrier and angrier at these people. It's like, I don't know why I have such a visceral reaction to it. Like, they're not bothering me, but I'm just like staring at them like, who the fuck are you doing this for? Who are you doing this for? I'm watching them eat something with their hands, right?
Yeah.
Take a French fry from the food court in their hands to their mouth. Put the mask back on after going, you
After they've been
fucking
touching
moron.
every fucking...
What are you doing? Who are you doing this for?
Yeah. It's just virtue signaling at that point, right? They're just trying to...
Yeah.
Like, it's part of their identity.
So-
Before I forget, I brought you guys a gift.
What we got?
There's not enough for
Freshies,
both
look,
of
It
us.
says on there, Freshies just got laid. So these are eggs.
Hold them up a little bit. Hold them up for the camera a little
These
bit.
are
Whoa.
Look at those sexy eggs.
These are eggs from my chickens at home.
No way.
But these aren't just regular eggs, Gerard. They're called pullet eggs. In the like if there's a chicken it's under a year, when they finally start laying for 4 weeks and 4 weeks only, they lay these. They're called pullet eggs, mini eggs,
Wow.
and they're super rich, super delicious. They have a higher nutrient content than
So it's like
Big eggs.
It's the veal of eggs.
for only 4 weeks. So they're limited,
Wow.
So how many days is that? 4 weeks. I'm not a math guy.
So you're saying you got to add those with normal eggs? You don't just mash
you
them
can.
6 up, make an omelet?
You can,
Do
yeah.
the best
You can
omelet
take-
ever?
Yeah, you can do a 6-egg omelet.
Now
But
that
you
the
see the
chickens-
variety in color.
That's what I was going to ask.
these
Did the chickens know it was Easter? And
No.
no?
So
some
I have a
olive color?
I have a mixture of chickens. I got my chickens from Dr. Del Porcher.
Yeah.
Who, he's a vet who comes and wrestles with us. He's been wrestling. He's like 100 years old. I don't know. He's like 50, 60, but we just say
Yeah, Dale's a man.
He's a grandpa, yeah. But he hatched my first chickens that I had, and they were Americanas. And now I have, there's a bunch of different ones. I don't know, but some of them lay olive eggs. So you have olive ones here.
Now,
Regular
for
and-
people who don't know, chickens will lay eggs and make other chickens, but every day they'll like shit out one of those or so.
So no, they just lay eggs, but to make another chicken,
But
have to
and none of those
fertilize it.
eggs would ever become a chicken.
No, they're
No,
not
they have to be fertilized. Yeah,
Yeah, they have to be
that's
fertilized.
That's an egg is the chicken period. It's their menstrual cycle.
Yeah.
So how can
But
you
if
tell
they
the
were-
difference between when one's going to be like
No,
an
they have
egg
to
or
sit on it. They have to sit on it, and
You have
so
to.
they don't sit on any of
They
those.
have
They
to
just
come in
kind of
contact with a cock.
a hen.
no, it's the
rooster.
warmth. The warmth. I could take this and go hatch it if I put it in an incubator. It has to have warmth.
Wait, it
Whoa.
doesn't have to come in contact. It doesn't have to be fertilized by a rooster.
How's he gonna fertilize it from the outside?
No. It gets
No.
fertilized. She gets fertilized.
She gets fertilized.
Yeah. No, every egg can become fertilized if you hatch it.
but before it's hatched.
I'm sure on TikTok, I don't have TikTok. You'll have to vouch, but
Well, what I'm saying is the opposite. Is that those are like guilt free. Like a vegan shouldn't feel bad about eating an egg because that's not going to become a chicken. That's just
It was just
chicken period or
Yeah.
chicken.
no,
whatever
it could
you want.
become a chicken if you were to, if it sat on it, if you left it.
I don't
We
know
need
if that's true. We need
verification
fact
on
check
this.
that.
We need
because-
I just
verification
eat
on
eggs.
this.
Jamie, pull that shit up. I just eat eggs, man. I don't know. I have chickens and I feed them. And
Do you
I
have
water 'em.
roosters?
I have one rooster.
Yeah, one rooster. Like
You got a
Protect 'em.
stud.
yeah.
He got to protect them. But no, anyway, these are yours.
Protect 'em.
Does
He's
that
a
look blue to
procreate.
you? I call that a blue
Yeah,
egg.
that's baby
Yeah, it's
blue.
Yeah,
blue.
look at that.
Yeah, it's cerulean.
That looks store bought.
That looks amazing. And
yeah,
actually, if those
that's
were
a gift
store
to you
bought,
guys.
wow.
Well, I should probably give that to Mickey because Gerard needs like 65 of those.
In
Yeah,
Biden's
no,
economy,
those are mine, but I'll
Chris
let Gerard
breakfast.
sit on them.
This is like a $50 gift.
Yeah.
Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome.
Yeah, that's just gold right there,
Now,
right?
as an Irish guy, when the British give you a gift, you better be fucking careful.
Yeah.
Because this right here, you eat this.
Yeah,
and
maybe-
next thing you know, your
maybe you eat
potatoes
'em.
don't start growing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I just interrupt and offer
British
a
give-
disclaimer here for this?
Yeah.
I'm not actually British by blood. I'm born and bred in London, but I have 0 British blood. So this is just for like comedic effect. Actually, you guys are probably more English than me. Like,
You're probably right. I got a little bit in me, yeah.
And when did your family move to America?
Like the 1900s.
So in 1776, you were a redcoat, not me. You should
No, whoa.
Right?
No,
Think about it.
We're
Irish, brother. We were
yeah,
fighting.
we're more Irish. I have more Irish and
I gotta take this wig off. Sorry.
You guys
Fucking
were oppressing us
Viking.
for 1,000 years before they even knew the New World existed.
yeah.
TUCO. That's not exactly not exactly the Queen's English, is it?
That is my real middle name.
Ah,
I'm actually, my first name is it's a Greek name named after my Greek granddad.
Malaka.
My dad is Greek. It's Yorgo.
Yorgo.
Georgios. Yeah.
Okay.
But I always went by my middle name Tuco.
I'm named after my grandfathers too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's an Italian thing too, right?
I'm not that much Italian, bro.
Oh,
I know you always want me to be.
Because you're so good looking. You just look like a real Italian stallion.
All right, you know what? I'll take it, dude. Real recognized real. You know what I mean? I appreciate that. But yeah, no, I'm a mutt. I'm like a bunch of different shit. My Italian grandfather's my middle name,
right?
And I'm named after my dad's dad and my mom's dad.
Right.
Yeah.
Guess his middle name.
No one in the world will.
1,000 guesses.
Yeah, you'll never get
You
it.
told me before, no? Or you didn't tell me?
I probably told. If it comes up, I tell. But then I say you can't tell anyone.
Tell me, tell the world.
My government name is Michael Boniface Gall.
Boniface.
Boniface.
That's a
Know what it
name.
means too?
No.
Beautiful face.
There's no way.
Yeah.
How
There's no way-
perfectly
there's no way
named.
that's
How
meant to be.
aptly
No way
named.
that's true.
That's
You know what
like
I mean?
a what came
Bonifacio.
first, the chicken or the egg. Would you have been good looking if you didn't have that name?
I don't know.
Or did you get that name because you were going to be good looking?
Yeah, I think it was destined. It was in the stars. Go ahead and Google all you want, G. It means what it means.
All right. Well,
Boniface Santoro.
Boniface, the Merriam-Webster definition is the proprietor of a hotel, nightclub, or restaurant. So
Really? Well, you gotta look in Italian.
nightclub goal.
Oh wait, this reminds me. So I got a question for both you guys
means
today.
fortunate. And
Go
it means
ahead.
fortunate.
Fortunate
and,
face.
auspicious. I think it's face.
Anyway, Faccio, face, Bonifacio. But anyway, so I got a
Hold on,
question
real
for
quick,
both you
real
guys.
Quick, stop.
You
Real
can-
quick. Real quick.
Stop.
Yeah, real quick.
Stop.
Because you did the thing. Face. What? Bonifacio. This reminds me of that joke online that's going around where it's like, I met that dude, Michael, and he said that his parents named him Michael because he could jump real high like the basketball player. And then the dad goes, well, how'd they know he was going to jump high when he was a baby? The kid goes, well, they lied to me. Bonifacio.
I never
I
saw
got that Bonifacio because I got a beautiful face.
Guys, it just makes sense.
They lied to me. Yeah, anyway, you were saying? 2 questions.
No, I have one question.
Yeah.
Damn, bro, you're already sweating from that
Bro,
fucking.
that thing's highly flammable.
Hey, beauty is pain, bro.
That thing is highly
Fucking
flammable. You like
wearing,
the shirt,
I
Rick?
like that.
It's great because everyone
Make
thinks
kids
They
it's
look
like
ripped
sweating.
up. It's like it looks like abs on you.
Oh, that's good. I need some abs.
Sorry.
Fist fight.
Here's my question. If you had to pick 4 people to have dinner with, any people in history, who would you pick at your fucking table? Now I came prepared, so I got one while you guys think.
All right.
Right. So my true one, and this is what reminded me of it, was one would be both my grandfathers that passed, my father and my great grandfather. It'd be all family. You know what I mean? Because I think you can learn so much from family.
Very
But
Italian.
that's not quite like sexy enough though. You know what I mean? So I gotta if that's a little selfish on my part. So I think for the podcast, if I had to
Qualified
pick one,
as non-family.
yes, I think you gotta do one as non-family. I say you can include family if that's your real one, because
Okay.
we keep it real, but
Sure.
we can deviate and talk to your other one. So here's my other one. I think I'm gonna go with Babe Ruth, Mike Tyson, Marcus Aurelius, and that last spot is up in the air. I think I might go with Rogan on it.
Wow. Interesting. Rogan?
Well, with Rogan,
I think Rogan and Tyson are modern day philosophers. I think I was thinking maybe like Biggie or Tupac or something like that. But I decided no. I was thinking maybe Muhammad Ali. I feel like no one would get a word in edgewise.
Be pretty funny.
Rogan's a good one because with Rogan you get the thousands of guests and knowledge that.
Sure.
That's what I'm saying. And I also feel like Tyson's kind of a modern day philosopher. Like
I
the
guess,
way he.
but I mean,
And we're assuming Marcus Aurelius knows English, or you
Of
guys
course,
understand
of course.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
of course. You don't need a
No,
you don't need a
we don't need,
translator.
like,
We
well,
all
yeah, got it.
This
I
is
don't know, for
we're
me-
bringing him back from the past. I'm not gonna bring him back from the past and he be
Let's
like talking
ground
Latin
this
to
thing in
me.
reality, okay? Once
Yeah.
we bring him back, he's gonna have to learn English. So
No, he's gonna know English.
I love that you went with Babe Ruth. Why Babe Ruth?
I mean, think about it. Babe Ruth. So I think Babe Ruth is kind of the opposite of Aurelius in a lot of ways.
Why do you say that?
That man was controlled by his appetites.
Oh yeah,
That man was, eating hot dogs in the middle of games,
Sure.
drinking Cokes, breakfast, huge, like would eat like 6 huge meals a day. You know what I mean? He was out there chasing women, smashing baseballs.
So
like,
I don't know if I've ever told you this, but one of my life's dreams, one of my major goals is to write and direct a Babe Ruth biopic, because
they did one with, what's
horrible.
his name?
It's John Goodman.
John
It's a
Goodman.
joke.
I thought it was all right.
No, but it's
I saw it
but it's
very-
not
as a
who
kid.
he. But it's not who he was. Like, we have this idea of Babe Ruth as like the fat guy eating hot dogs and like larger than life, dude. Professional sports, as they exist today, do not exist without Babe Ruth. You guys do not have the job that you have without Babe Ruth. This guy was a larger-than-life cult of personality, the likes of which has very seldom been seen on this planet. This guy took a game that, at the time, was thought of as, like, very rude. It was a crude game. It was a white trash game. It was Ty
Baseball.
Cobb. Yes. And
Ty
he
Cobb was before Babe Ruth?
yeah, right in the beginning, it was Ty Cobb and then Babe Ruth. And he Babe Ruth going to Broadway in New York, coming out of that first little depression that we had in the 1919s, coming out of World War I, he created this spectacle of American greatness, like this idea of, like the America First, the grandiose, the
Ty
roaring
Cobb was
20s.
a nasty motherfucker.
Nasty dude. Now that's a great movie. Cobb.
With Tommy Lee Jones.
That's a great
He would make his cleats, like he would sharpen his spikes, and as he'd slide into second base, he'd stab people right in the
Bro,
frickin'
I don't even know who that is.
Ty Cobb, bad motherfucker.
It's America's sport, buddy.
And even Babe Ruth, like,
Hey, he actually
That's
came
a very-
over and he's a big Eagles fan.
yeah.
Really?
So I'm
I'm
happy
into
he took football.
Yeah.
Sorry he took the Eagles.
Yeah. Bad.
There's a couple Giants fans over
Well, when
here.
I first moved here, they just won the Super Bowl, so it was
So-
like the best team.
Ty Cobb, you'll like this as a fighter. He's an unbelievably quotable. He was a quote machine, but like he wasn't like a happy guy. Like he meant
No,
it
yeah,
when he was saying it. He was accused of killing a guy over a gambling
shit.
debt.
Yeah.
And he, they asked him at his Hall of Fame induction. He was in the first class inducted into the Hall of Fame, and they were like, now that the pitchers do this full time and everybody's throwing so hard and the athletes have caught up, what do you think you'd bat in today's game? And he's like, shit, I don't know, 290, 300. And they were like, wow, the incredible Ty Cobb, a man who hit over 400 3 times, thinks he'd only hit 290 in today's game. He goes, well, yeah, I'm 67 years old, motherfucker.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, but we don't, and there's other guys too, man. There's like crazy dudes like Red Grange and these guys that back in the day, college football was more popular than pro football. And these guys were like, they were seen that if you were a professional football player, it was like you were a loser. It was like, get a job, man. Like, what's wrong with you?
So all right. So let's keep breaking down my table. So we got Babe Ruth.
Oh, yeah.
Love Babe
We
Ruth.
got
Man, mine's a lot deeper
is it-
than that. Yours is quite, like, modern.
well, except for Aurelius.
Yeah, I guess. But why?
Right.
Why Aurelius?
I'm definitely a fan of. I think he's one of the most interesting people because he had all the power in the world. He controlled the known world.
Sure.
Right. Like they didn't know about China and whatever was going on over there, but as much of the world they knew, he controlled it all.
Yep.
And instead, he could have had all the women and wine and good times he wanted, but instead he lived like such a strict, disciplined person, like the highest of virtue. You know what I mean? Like
Marcus Aurelius.
Aurelius.
Yeah, one of the
Stoicism. He's
creators
one
of
of the
Stoicism,
yeah.
Well,
was
the
he? He was
pillars, I should say, because
Plato and Socrates.
Yep.
That's kind of who he.
Aristotle.
Like, and that was Socrates's. Plato or Socrates. That was their vision. Was like a philosopher king, or a king who's like They thought that's what's going to be the best. I mean, like kind of person to rule a place.
Plato was
And
a pro fighter.
Really?
Yeah, wrestler, Olympic wrestler.
Really?
Yeah, Plato is
Wrestle
not
naked.
his name. Yeah, Plato just means wide, width, like big.
Right.
Yeah, he was an Olympic wrestler.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, but I think Aurelius. I like a lot of his what would you call them? Like his ideals, like a lot of his stuff. Like it's I just think he's got to be one of the most impressive people in history. I think like it'd be an interesting juxtaposition him and Babe Ruth at the same table.
Well, he's stoic as fuck. He probably wouldn't even say much. He'd be like, "Oh, this guy's." He'd just be chilling and wait again.
He'd probably be horrified by.
What are you guys eating at this dinner as well?
Man, I didn't think. I imagine if you can have all these people from any time, you could have whatever you want. You know what I mean? They got it all on the menu.
Maybe they bring a dish.
So Mickey's eating Indian food with Marcus Aurelius.
Maybe they bring a dish. Their own dish.
That'd be interesting to see if they brought a dish. It would be interesting to see if you found it appetizing. That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Marcus Aurelius, too, one of the things I do love about the Stoics is the idea of, like, the warrior in the garden. It's kind of like Jordan Peterson a little bit, although he goes more towards a little bit more of a hard line, masculinity. This idea that if you're intellectual without being any sort of athletic, it doesn't mean anything. And if you're athletic without being any sort of intellectual, it doesn't mean anything. It's that yin and the yang. You should be both, and you should aspire to be both. You should aspire to be dangerous, and then also be able to control that dangerous aspect of yourself.
Well, yeah, if you're at one end of the spectrum and you have a guy, you could be the most intelligent guy in the world. It's like, well, this gorilla or tiger will kill you in this room if you can't defend yourself. So how intelligent are you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's
it's like what is it a kind man?
Yeah.
So it's if you're strong, you can be kind because you could inflict violence and pain on someone.
You're choosing not to.
How does the exact saying go?
Only the strong can be kind.
Yeah.
Right.
Because the weak can't choose.
Yeah, they have to be kind.
They have to be kind.
It's not a choice for them. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think for me, as interested in world history and geopolitics as I am, the table's pretty simple and it's pretty boring.
Oh, and I should say, you guys, I know you probably want to include me at the table, but like we're gonna have lunch after. Like this is a fantasy thing. Like we could just, you know what I mean? It's all right. I just wanted to say before
I need a minute to think of the fourth guy.
Yeah, you got to think of your fourth. Sorry.
But I guess I'm gonna replace you with Winston Churchill.
Oh, nice.
I do Churchill, Hitler.
Nice.
Jesus and Caesar, Julius Caesar.
Ooh,
Those would be
that's
my
strong.
four.
Strong choices. I like those.
That'd be my four.
Mine are a little more like, I don't know, shaman.
Not a lot of women at the table here. Maybe I got to mix one of them up here and
Look,
maybe
if you have an all-time history
There's a
one
woman on
and you're
mine.
trying to fucking chase pussy, that's a problem. You're like, if you're inviting like 4 bimbos to the table, like
fair. There's a woman on mine.
Angelina Jolie, I'm fucking
I'll tell you what,
Margot
though,
Robbie.
I would not mind.
Womb Raider.
I would not mind seeing what either Cleopatra or Helen of Troy look like to cause entire continents
Helen
to
of
go
Troy.
to. If you're going to cause entire continents to go to war for a decade, I need to see
Now, how
what
real?
the big deal
How
was.
real is that? And like the whole Trojan War versus it? Isn't it a lot of it's Homer's epic?
Yeah, it's the Iliad and the Odyssey. I mean,
The Odyssey's Odysseus.
Yeah, as far as like what in the story is 100% accurate, it's 10,000 years ago. It's hard to tell. It's
They're considered epic poems, but they're also historical.
Yeah, so there was a historical Troy. They disagree on where it was exactly. It was somewhere up in like Illyria. Not to get into the history of the Greek in front of the Grecian, but a lot of like what we know is like Greek. They were city states. There wasn't really like one Greece.
Yeah.
And even Alexander wasn't really Greek by modern standards. He was Macedonian.
Yeah.
So
So you know what I found out? Like Volkanovski, the fighter, right? I thought he was Croatian or something, and then someone told me no, he's Macedonian. So then I look into him. He's actually Greek.
Oh shit!
His mum is like a fresh Greek from Greece, and his dad is a Greek Macedonian. I was like, oh my god, we got one.
Yeah.
well,
We got a fucking champ.
Hell yeah.
Cleopatra. We think of Cleopatra as this Egyptian princess.
Yeah, Greek, right?
She's Greek.
Yeah.
Ptolemy. And they kept it in the family. A lot of interbreeding there. So when Alexander took over, northern Africa. It's very interesting. Now people are going to
And all this Stoic talk, that all comes from like Athens.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
Plato, Socrates, all that.
100%.
Big ups to you, Malakas. You know what I'm saying?
The smart Malakas. Yeah. You know, real gay out there in Sparta, but you know, Lesbos, we already did this with what was it?
Christos.
Yeah. And great guy, man, Christos. We look at everything. There's this massive flaw in any debate called presentism. It's actually a logical fallacy. If you're in a debate class or you're one of those geeks like I was, you get a point deducted for logical fallacies or arguing in bad faith, and presentism is one of those things. And we look at history through modern lenses. So when we think of like Syria, right, today, we think of like Middle Eastern, Arabic. Syria was very lighter skinned. It was very Romanized. For thousands of years, think of who had been colonizing the Mediterranean, the northern rim of Africa around the Middle East. It had been the Greeks, followed by the Romans. So we think of the Carthaginians, right? These are lighter skinned, more Mediterranean peoples. So like this idea, like again, like Jesus was black. Probably not. Right, Jesus was probably looked more what we would think modern day Greek would look. Right, he was a working class person. He was a carpenter. He was out in the sun all day. He didn't look like one of these blonde hair, blue eyed Aryans like he is. But this idea that he was somehow like a Persian or an Arab like they look today, it's also historically inaccurate because the Persian wave came after the Roman wave. So these things happen in colonization. And if anybody's ever seen the movie True Romance, it only takes a couple generations to change the entire demographic of a region. So these regions looked very different back then. And the idea of like, we think of Alexander, like Alexander was a Macedonian, like he was a Bosnian, he was a Balkan guy, it's just very fascinating to me how like tribalism kind of changes history throughout time. That would be one of the things I'd love talking with Caesar. And if I could talk to Caesar, did you really kill 1 million Gauls? Yeah. Why? Like what? Why? I didn't like the way they looked.
Your table's got Caesar, Hitler, Jesus, and Churchill.
Yeah. Maybe Helen of Troy or Cleopatra to throw it in.
Know what I thought you were going to do?
They can be the server or the waiter.
I was thinking.
No, there's a woman at my table.
As long as she's serving.
Yeah. All right. So I was thinking he was gonna go like forefathers, like he was gonna be like George Washington, and then have like Biden there so that like George Washington could like rip him a new asshole.
That'd be great. If I had any of the forefathers there, let me see if you can guess which of the if I would actually
John Hancock.
You know what? I'll get rid of Churchill, and I'll replace. You're right. I'll replace him with my favorite founding father.
It's not John Hancock?
It's not John Hancock, although I do like his balls.
Yeah, he put his dick on the table. Sign that shit big. Go for it. I don't know.
Big Ben Franklin guy. Ben Franklin's a fucking G. Yeah. A G. Absolute fucking.
Maybe a serial killer?
Maybe.
Did you hear about that?
No.
They found like
bones.
Hundreds.
I didn't know this either.
Like hundreds of bones in I think like about 10 people's worth of bones
in his backyard,
in his basement.
Oh damn!
It was 13.
The good outweighs the bad.
13. Omri loves correcting me.
We've already established on the Slick and Thick podcast for people that have been listening to the last 35 episodes. America doesn't really care about murder, so we're fine.
Yeah,
just don't be racist or transphobe and kill whoever you want.
Yeah.
So anyway. Ben Franklin or John Adams? I would love John Adams also. John Adams is a fucking G. G.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How come? Why is he such a G?
Man. How much time he got? Like, this is...
less than a minute, please.
Yeah. Dude, these guys... You got to put it into context. We do such a bad
That's
job.
good. Hey, Tuco, how about your table? No, I'm just fucking with you. Go ahead.
Go colonize him real quick.
Let me put my shit back on.
But March. But you got to put it into context. Imagine they were America. They were America today. Imagine a couple guys in Florida were like, you know what? Fuck it. We're not paying your stupid taxes anymore. We don't want to be a part of the team. No, you got to be a part of the team. Right here, buddy. Right here. Goes to Joe Biden, says, I don't want to. No, you're an idiot. Right? You're not. The election's rigged. Our voice isn't being heard. We're out.
Yeah.
Goes to the United States and says, right here, Peace. We're out of here. The guys were already like, these weren't, sometimes like the peasant revolt, you get it. Like the French Revolution started because they were starving. Like they had no other options. There was no bread, right? These in India, they were slaves, right? In America, these guys had it pretty good. These guys were making money. John Adams was making money. He was a wealthy guy. He was doing well for himself. Life was good.
Washington was a general. He could have been
why? Yeah. Their life was good. And they were like, fuck it. Risk it all. We need to do our own thing. And then they took over and said, no loss. Do what you want, people. You're welcome.
Yeah, they were like, Washington, be the king. He's like, I don't want to be a king.
It's never happened before in the history of humanity, and it'll never happen again. And one of the reasons that the global elites want to shit on these people so much, and why the Constitution is under attack, why the Bill of Rights is under attack, is because these group of people showed everybody else, we don't need them. We don't need them. We don't need their coin, and we don't need their lead, and we don't need their guns, and we don't need their protection. We don't need daddy government hanging over us. Get the fuck out of here. We're going to hang out with our farm. We're going to do our own thing. Peace. And it's a moment in history it's like if Spartacus had won the slave revolution in Rome. Like it's never happened before, and it'll never happen again. It's just the most beautiful human moment by people that are just incredibly
that's a minute's up.
They were smart, and they weren't selfless. There was self-interest involved, but they were smart, and they understood the risk, and they took the risk anyway. I mean, it's just the bravery, and it's incredible that
they were fucking badasses. No doubt.
We're such cowards by oh my God, what if I get canceled for saying this? And these guys were like, fucking 2 middle fingers to the king. Like they're just on a whole different level, and they, we're such pansies compared to them, and they wore fucking Lululemons and fucking wigs, and maybe that's what it was. Maybe we
we just
they
don't
were
like
so
their
pissed
attire.
off all day that they had to wear the wigs and the blush.
So you think we don't put respect on their name because of like the weird clothes?
I do. I actually think that has a lot to do with it. I think we think of them as these dainty little dandies.
Yeah, like kind of fairy boys.
These little look at these little fairy boys.
But really, they were like the ultimate badasses.
Boom, bang, bang, get off my land.
Bro, Britain are the pound for pound colonial kings. Like for such a small fucking place, took over
sure.
you'll know the percentages of the world they controlled. It was
but
25%.
What's crazy is that the British aren't even British. That's what I love, is that the British got taken over by Vikings that are like, hey, guess what, Viking? You're a Brit now. Anglo-Saxon lords.
They've done that a bunch of times. The Huguenots, the Normans.
Well, the Plantagenets. The British monarchy spoke French for like 1,000 years. They didn't even speak English. They spoke French like on purpose to make sure that the peasant English knew that they were better than them. One of those War of the Roses kind of ended that. Then the Tudors, the real Brits. That was your America moment with the War of the Roses. They were like, we're taking our country back. For these stupid French Plantagenet.
That's Game of Thrones, right?
Game of Thrones.
War of the Roses.
Yeah. So who would your 4 be?
My 4 would be first at the table, Genghis Khan. For sure.
I thought about having him too.
The Mongol horde, the biggest continuous empire in the history of our planet.
For sure.
And I just want to know like how much he macked.
I mean,
they say like 1 in 80 men on this.
Yeah,
bro.
that's
I think 1 in 5 Asian people.
Yeah. I don't know if there's a lot of macking going on there, bro. I think,
someone tried to do the math on it. They were like, he must have impregnated like 60 women a day. I'm like,
and I don't think that's
no one can do
consensual,
that.
bro.
But then again, who knows? Because
more of a smack than a mac.
Bro, testosterone in men is on the decline. Like male virility is going down. Who knew back then?
Yeah.
When you're doing that much killing and eating that much organic produce from the Mongol Empire,
it's true.
You don't know how strong this guy's seed was.
Strong seed.
They're eating their horses once their horses would like die, they'd eat them.
Well, do you know how they make the
very resourceful?
Do you know how
a
they
lot of
make
horse meat, bro.
You know how they
that's
make
got
Overeem.
That's got Shavkat spazzing too.
Overeem, bro.
You know how they make that horse meat edible?
They used to dry it out.
Do you know how?
No.
They'd slice it thin, put it under their saddle, and cook it with their fucking ass sweat as they were riding.
I did hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they'd shred the meat, put it under the saddle, and then the friction of them riding for all day long.
Season with some butt
exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah, it was like you imagine you're like chilling in Constantinople, just eating grapes and enjoying fucking honey, and then you see these guys out there like, we're gonna come in, and you're like,
Just horse and fecal sweat.
you
know, the
smell
Mongols-
like horse and ass.
The Mongols actually, they made it to Japan by boat for a short time.
Is that right?
Yeah, I read a book about this, and it's crazy because the Japanese in that time, a lot of samurais, and when you would have a fight with someone, it was a one-on-one only.
Yeah.
And when you get there, you're in your full armor with your sword, and you declare your name, your lineage.
That was
where
the
you're
same thing
from.
with the Trojan War. That's how they used to do it too. You'd have to like you'd make sure like you
Yeah,
weren't
it
related
was a
to
fair
anyone.
fight,
Like it
yeah.
was you declare your name.
But like nobles would fight nobles and stuff.
I don't know.
Is that the
I think
idea?
it like that was the thing with like Ajax and Achilles. Like so what's his name? Is it Paris? Who's
Paris
the one?
was the prince.
And who was Hector? Hector's his older brother.
Yeah, Hector was.
So-
he was.
So
was
Hector
the
used to
protector.
fight very dishonorably.
Really?
Yes, Hector used to just run around the battlefield swinging his fucking swords at people.
Well,
But
he was a
everyone
chariot,
else,
right? He had a chariot?
Everyone else would like do what you were talking
Yeah.
about. Like that was a real thing. Like you'd like introduce yourselves, give your name, give your family's like lineage, and then it's okay. So we're gonna do battle now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, bro, there was an instant where someone done that, and then 50 Mongols jumped off a boat and just ran up on them and shanked them.
They were
with
like,
the
whoa,
short
whoa, whoa!
swords,
This is
bro.
not how this works.
Yeah. Imagine he's like, I am so-and-so.
Dishonorable.
Bro, they're jumping up behind him, just shanking him with little Mongol blades and shit.
Yeah.
So, bro,
Quite to
that's
his
crazy
surprise.
to me to think of. But as well, Gerard, maybe you'll know. There was
That was kind of what we did to the British too. A little guerrilla warfare. You
But
know what I mean?
I'm
Like
interested. I'd be very
you guys
interested.
were
They were
marching
like,
out.
See us on the field of battle like men with
We're like,
honor.
we'll be up
We're
in
like,
trees with muskets.
Okay, about that. Boo-boo. See you later.
But
Yeah.
there was a battle somewhere where apparently the Mongols killed 1 million people in 1 hour.
Do you know where you hear that from, though?
Where?
The Mongols.
Mongols.
So it's always like everything we know about Julius Caesar, we know from one source.
Yeah.
Julius Caesar.
Yeah, exactly.
So like it's you
The
gotta
Victor's right there,
you know
history book.
that's right.
Bro,
The
I want to
Victor's
go
right,
to
the history.
Mongolia so bad. That's on my list.
How funny would it be like you go and you see Genghis Khan, you're like, this fucking guy's an animal. He's
Yeah.
like 5'2",
Yeah.
35.
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
know?
for real.
There's a statue of him there, isn't there? And it's huge.
Well,
There's a statue of Genghis Khan in
the
Mongolia.
average size of the Roman soldier was like 5'6" or 5'7".
Yeah.
And there wasn't a ton of nutrients. So if you're 5'6", what are you, $150? Bunch of fucking 5'6", 160-pound fucking Paulie D's taking over the world in sandals. Like,
Gerard's like 6 Navy SEALs will take out the whole fucking.
that would be incredible. Like if there was a Roman legion, could SEAL Team 6 take it out? Could 12 Navy
Yeah,
SEAls
they have guns.
with one drone?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, so cool phalanx.
As they're
I'm
marching,
just,
yeah.
I'm just gonna press this button here.
Yeah.
And kaboo! Oh no!
So Genghis Khan,
Genghis Khan, Rasputin.
Rasputin.
Interesting.
That's a good one, huh?
Dicking down the queen.
Yeah, I just want to know like his secrets, you know. And the Iron Lady, the one and only, the greatest woman who's ever lived.
Margaret Thatcher?
Margaret Thatcher.
Nice.
Yeah.
Maggie.
I don't know much about Margaret
Bro,
Thatcher.
Maggie was a straight G. Imagine
Yeah.
when she was in power as a woman in the fucking 80s and shit.
Yeah.
Do you know what they said? Imagine this. Like
What was she? Was she a prime minister?
Prime Minister,
Hell
the
yeah.
first female prime minister.
Okay.
And she
Famous
was a
quote
savage.
about socialism. You know
Who
what
was the
problem with
queen? When
socialism
she,
is?
the queen who just passed
Eventually, you
was
run
the
out of
queen.
other people's money.
Say again.
She has the famous quote about socialism. She goes, you know, the problem about socialism is eventually you run out of other people's money.
She said you won't achieve anything if you're trying to be liked. I love
Yeah.
that. But she, bro, we think about, everyone was scared of her because she was such a bitch. And but imagine how scared like the female people in parliament were of her.
Yeah.
Like the men were scared of her. Imagine if you're another woman.
But it's
how scared you were of this bitch. Like
It's
she
very
was so-
interesting too, just to think about the fact that Mick's like, I don't know much about her.
Yeah.
But we have had this feminist uprising basically our entire adult lives. And, you know, we've had Women's History Month. Here is a woman
They'll
that
never
took
mention
over.
her, yeah.
They'll never mention her.
She's not well liked.
She's
By
conservative,
who,
bro.
though? By who? This
the
is my
left.
point. Same thing.
People? I don't know.
We've had Black History Month our whole life. If you go out into the street, you ask anybody who Thomas Sowell
Thomas
is, they'll
Sowell.
have no idea.
Okay.
It's propaganda. It's commie propaganda. And I know that sounds like jingoistic. It's
Right.
Communist propaganda.
Bro,
They
Thomas
only
Sowell was on my
promote-
table.
Was he really? That was the
Yeah.
last
Is
guy?
that right? For
He's
real?
the last
No
person on my
shit.
table. Bro, he's my birthday twin.
Get out of here.
Listen to this. When I turned 30,
Brilliant man.
I was sitting there on my birthday and I Googled, like, who else has my birthday, you know, June 30th? And I look on it, Mike Tyson and Thomas Sowell.
Yeah.
And the day I turned 30,
Kids of
Thomas
cancer.
Sowell turned 90.
Wow.
Bro, one of the smartest people ever. Like you said, they'll never mention him.
Yep.
And he's one of
White-
the greatest black authors and thinkers
Yeah.
in history.
White liberal black redneck.
Yeah.
Unbelievable
Bro,
book.
I've read every book he's ever wrote.
Yeah.
Wrote. Fuck.
It's interesting. I met a guy who's a military strategist, black guy, this weekend. Came to the show because I'm not going to say his name. Really, really smart guy. I want to get him on the pod. And he was essentially like, everything that's being done is being done for people to give the government the green light to go after white people. I was like, what? That doesn't make any sense. He goes, no, you got to understand. It's soft target politics. It's everything that they're doing. They want to turn one group against the other group. And they were like, they've already divided the white group. They're like 50% of the population divided against each other. All you have to do is get one of those people to do something stupid so the other groups go save us from these guys, and that gives the
Right.
government the
So they
green
feel
light
righteous to
go in and take the biggest pawn off the table. You know, the biggest piece off the board. And that's kind of like the soft belly thing he was talking about. I'm trying to get him on so we can explain it in better terms without, you know. But it was the way he broke it down was very, very interesting. And he's like, and I'm like, what made you think of this? He's like, I did it. I helped coups.
Yeah, damn.
This is what we did in other countries. We take the biggest, strongest group, we split it, we turn everybody else against them, we hollow them out, and then we say, hey, you're welcome. Now we control everything.
Yeah.
You're welcome for the security, and all it costs you is your freedom.
Yeah.
Pay up. It's kind of fucked. We've been doing it in the Middle East and South America for 100 years. It's wild. And he's like, the tactics, I'm like, that's crazy.
They're doing it
How do you
inside
know?
this country, yeah.
I've done it.
It's
He was
interesting for
he was
me.
a counterinsurgent in other places.
It's
Pretty
interesting for me being British and then moving here. Like growing up, I'm working class. I grew up in a black neighborhood. I was at what's called a Labour baby, the Labour Party. Like they fed me, housed me, free school meals, free education. Like growing up, I was like on welfare basically in America. But then you get older and you make a bit of money and you have something to conserve and you start to shift a little bit. And now I've arrived at where I am now, which is I'm a libertarian, you know. At this point, even in America, I believe like the Republican Party, they just exist to sedate the right.
The uniparty type idea, yeah.
Yeah, it's like,
You said sedate the right.
I think the Republican
Control
Party,
opposition.
they exist to just sedate anyone who is a would-be libertarian.
Okay.
But for me, America was designed with libertarian ideals.
100%.
100%. That's a fact. I like the first time I read the Constitution, I was like, wow, this is a perfect document.
Yeah.
You know, and so being from Britain and moving here, I've been here for 5 years. I've fully assimilated. I love America. And what annoys me about the left is like they speak about progression and stuff like that. I'm like, America is the new frontier. It is the progressive new frontier. You know what I mean? Equal opportunities, everyone is equal. It's written into the document that founded this country. Like, if you just go back to that, everything will be fine.
Yeah, it's interesting. Thomas Massey is a congressman from Kentucky, and he just tweeted something very interesting the other day, and it's very true. He goes, if there was no Bill of Rights, we talked about the Restrict Act off air and stuff like that, about how people, not going to bore, but look into the Restrict Act. It's not good, people. It's not good. But Thomas Massey said, if there were no Bill of Rights and they voted on it today, he said, not a single one of them would pass. Freedom of speech would not pass. The Second Amendment wouldn't even be brought up. Fourth Amendment, Fifth Amendment, the right not to self-incriminate. Nancy Pelosi tweets out after Trump is indicted, and I'm no Trump fan, tweets out after Trump is indicted, good, now he has a chance to prove his innocence. That's the Speaker of the House. That's the third most powerful person in America at one point. We grew up our whole lives, you're innocent until proven guilty. And this idea that now he gets to prove his innocence, that's a fucked statement. And that's not somebody, that's not like some crazy old bat who's just, that's the third most powerful person in the country flipping assumed guilt on our head. In an era where we have a camera on us at all times, our leadership assumes we're guilty. Just think about the consequences of that tweet.
It's insane.
All right, like that's a massively important tweet that can't be overstated. They put a fucking camera on us at all times. They want to disarm us at every moment. And by the way, you're fucking guilty until we tell you you're not. Not good.
The government's out of control, man.
Not good.
What's crazy to me is how, like, and COVID showed this, like, the blind faith that people have in government. And I'm like, they're just fucking people, man. They're people like us.
Yeah.
100%.
Like, that's my problem with religion as well. Like, I am faithful, I believe in God. But when it comes to institutionalized religion, I'm like, how is this guy more capable of interpreting this book than me? I have eyes and a brain. I can fucking read.
For sure.
Like, I'm not kissing the Pope's fucking hand. He's just a fucking guy like me.
Sure.
Like, he don't have any powers.
We're all people. How could anyone who hasn't died say what happens when you die?
Exactly. But that's my issue with government, and especially the Second Amendment. I'm like, no, I'm a guy. I know myself. I trust myself. I should have every fucking weapon the fucking government has.
Sure.
Why should they? They're just people.
Sure.
They make mistakes.
See, I
They're
would
prone
actually-
to human error.
see,
Why should they have more than us?
I wouldn't even give them the credit that they're just people. I think they're the wrong kind of people. They're power hungry. Their ambition is before their instinct to preserve their power is before their instinct to preserve our nation. They're putting their authority above their service to us, and those are the people that shouldn't have power and shouldn't have access to weapons. And this idea also that we're seeing where the law only applies to those who aren't in power, this kind of Soviet style, it's, membership has its perks shit, where if group A does something, it's okay, but group B does something that's against the law. That's a bad place to be. It's a really bad place to be when you're either with us or against us, and we're all supposed to be on the same team. And it becomes undeniable at some point. And I think Mickey and I have talked about this in other podcasts, but like it becomes overwhelming. It becomes overwhelming and frustrating where you're like, what am I supposed to do? Like, well, okay, so let's say that you're right. What do I do about this? And I think the best thing that I ever did was acknowledge, look, I'm not a martyr. I'm not a freedom fighter. I'm out. Go to Florida, man. I'm going to Florida, and I'm going to be around people with similar ideals. And you would never think it makes such a big difference in my life,
So you
man.
can live in peace,
Yeah, like I can't even stand a week in New York anymore. Like, I really can't. Like I can't. Like I can't even like enjoy myself there.
So
All right, well, that gives me a bone to pick with you a little bit. You said you come down to Florida to just be out of it?
Yeah.
And why are you always talking politics on the podcast?
Well, you're not out of it. You're not like I'm not going to give up my life for it. I'm still advocating for it. I think it's very important. Perfect example, right? Why I advocated for it on the podcast. That dude, the shaman, okay? Fucking January 6th shaman, the QAnon guy, right? He gets painted as this crazy right-wing QAnon lunatic who's going over and storming the Capitol. Then now the footage comes out 2 years later. This guy's being peaceful. He's telling people don't do anything. He's praying for the cops. He gets fucking thrown in jail for 2 years.
crazy.
Yeah.
Now the shit gets leaked. Tucker Carlson reports on it. People like us talk about that report. What just happened with that guy, the shaman? Got let out of jail. Now, I'm not saying we got the guy out of jail, but public opinion shifts.
Right. So that's interesting. So going back to my table, Marcus Aurelius, he said there's two type of things in the world. There's things you can control, things you can't control. So he says, complaining is pointless because if it's something you can control, then go do something about it. And if there's something you can't, then it's stupid to complain about, right?
But it's bad when you get to that point where you've given up on influencing your government, you know what I mean? Like you just said, just forget about them, but they're making decisions about your life.
100%. So that's why is that what you're using this platform to expose certain things, but what solution is there?
Maybe the solution presents itself in the exposing of the problems. I think, things are shifting. And things are shifting in a way that I'm much more optimistic than I was even 6 months ago. When you have people
Why?
we have someone like Matt Taibbi, somebody who's a lifelong Democrat, and he goes to Congress to expose state censorship, all right, and gets attacked by Democrats and comes out and says, guys, they've lost the plot. Like this is real, right? When you have the CDC and the WHO come out a week ago and say, you know what, you don't need a vaccine if you're a teenager or a kid. Like it's, you don't need it. That's a win. That's a win because there's so much public pressure put on. They can act like it's 50-50 in this country. It's not. It's 80% of the people don't believe what they're being told. 20% of the people believe what they're being told by the media. They trust our government. That's it, 20%.
Right.
So
and TUCO, I'm not advocating putting your head in the sand.
Yeah.
I think ignorance is the worst thing. I just think there should be like planning and action.
Yeah. No, I
around-
agree with you. Like, I don't watch the news. I try to keep up with the important issues that are important to me, but I try to just be an example and live my life in a way that matches the ideology that I follow. You know?
Yeah.
So like chickens and eggs and shit, that seems like a stupid thing, but it's like
Self-sustainable.
I want to be self-sustainable. Yeah.
Self-sustainable.
I want to have my own produce. I don't want to have to depend on what's fed to me.
Right.
You know, and that's important to me. But in terms of what would fix, because you asked him like, oh, what would fix the issues? It's like government's out of control. You know, we need term limits. They've got too much power, but no one who wants power should get power. Like power should be given to those that don't want
a reluctant
but are
leader.
willing to do it as a civic duty. You know, that's
100%.
the only way. Like,
well, let me ask you this, Mick, because
I completely agree with that.
like Joe Biden's never had a
That's
job.
George Washington.
Has
It's
Joe
the same
Biden
thing.
ever had a fucking job?
Bernie Sanders, their job has been to
And that was
rule
George
their whole-
Washington's thing. He didn't want any part. They were like, be the king, be this. And he's like, nah, I don't want it. I want to go back to my farm. And they were like, he did it as duty.
a civic duty. Yeah.
You know, like the way the Romans used to do it.
Yeah.
But they would elect, but then Caesar didn't want to give that up, right?
Yeah. What's the quote? It might be an Orwellian quote. Or maybe it's Bradbury. I forget off the top of my head. I should look it up. But it's like
Why don't you look it up? I got to take a piss.
All right. Yeah, so the quote, it is
Orwellian one?
Yeah, it is Orwell. And it said, in a time of deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act.
Yeah.
Right? And I think, people think of like warfare or like you're saying, like action as physical action. Like we got to get out in the streets and we got to take it to them. Kind of like what we talked about with the redcoats before. And then, but if we do that, we can't beat them. They're too big. They're too strong. They got predator drones and we don't. But this is an information war. It really is. This is a war that's being fought in a digital space. So counter propaganda, seeing something that's propaganda and calling it out, you are fighting back.
Right.
You're talking about the hearts and minds of kids. Now you guys have people watching you every single day. You've got fans that come up to you in the street, ask for your picture, bro. If they're listening to you and your advice to them is, hey, just think for yourself. You have such an influence on them that you don't even realize. If they're listening to us and we get even one person to question the official narrative, it's worth it. It's a different place where the war is being fought.
Right. No,
it's being fought in the information sphere.
I agree. I agree with that for sure.
You know what I'm saying? And also,
What was the quote again?
in a time of deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act.
Right.
Facts.
And it's true. Because now the truth is what gets you in trouble today. You get fact-checked when you're saying the truth.
Yeah.
You get censored and deplatformed when you're saying the truth that the state doesn't want you to say.
That's I like a lot too, because David Adiv, who is a big, he's my jiu-jitsu coach, but he's like my teacher.
David Adiv would be at your table.
100%. I know. I thought David Adiv but again, he's like having me at the table. I'm lucky enough I get to have David Adiv at the table, but his basically the two things, like there's truth and there's lies, right? There's truth and there's lies. The truth is good, lies bad, and that's kind of the battle of a lot of things. So I think yes, thinking for yourself is one of the biggest things. I completely agree with that. That's always been my thing. It's like having your own original thought, not just accepting the thoughts from other people and the programming.
That's the problem with the last few years, what we've seen with COVID and elections and all this shit. And there's a way I describe it. I call it the hologram theory. It's like the Matrix. Like most people that you see, you go into a grocery store, you see people, you walk past them, and 5 seconds later, you can't even remember their face.
Yep.
Like how many people have you walked past today? Can you recall anyone's face? It's like they're just holograms that fill up the matrix, you know?
Interesting.
And
The NPC idea.
yeah, exactly. NPCs, non-playable characters. But people don't have their own thoughts, man. And because they don't read, they don't go out of their environment or the comfort zone. They're in this echo chamber. And they get to the point where I know people that just watch CNN like constantly, and it's like they're plugging in to the information source.
But this
it's
is
insane
where
to me. It's not an organic process. It's like,
But this is where guys like you are so important.
yeah,
And this is the truth. And I'm not gassing you up. This is the God's honest truth. People watch you and they see these guys take their shirt off and go stand in there and take the blows. It's not the throwing the blows. Everybody's been in a fight, throw a punch. There's exhilaration about, I'll throw a punch, I'll fuck this guy. Can you take a punch? And nobody wants to get into a fight because they think they'll get knocked out.
yeah.
I'll get embarrassed. I'll get hurt. He'll kill me. Like it's never nobody ever doesn't want to go into a fight. It's like, I'm going to kill him. I'm going to spend a right, left, right for jail. That's not what goes through your mind. It's like, oh man, I'm going to be embarrassed. What if this guy knocks me out? So when they watch people like you take the hit and still come forward, take the fucking smash and come out there, that's the inspiring thing. It's like, fuck, man, I wish I could do that. I wish I had that in me. On a much smaller level, I think the people who stand up and speak the truth while Congress is yelling at them, while they're getting deplatformed, the people that stand up and say, no, this is wrong. People are fucking dying and we're all believing these lies because it's easier to believe the lies. That's the same thing. They take the hits and you know what? You get deplatformed 6 months later. I'm still here. Speak up.
Yeah.
You'll survive. You'll make it. The more that they're able to bully people into silence, the more that they're able to bully people into like, it's like, imagine being a fighter and be like, you're not good enough. I'll fuck you up. You know, you're right.
Yeah.
Take the hit. Get out there, take the hit. You'll survive.
Right.
And
It's
it's
like,
worth the fight.
Do you guys know that guy from Jersey, that Ian Smith guy? He had a gym, and they were trying to close him down every day.
No, they did, but they did
boarding
everything
the
they
place
possibly could.
Yeah,
he's going to get a lot of money in lawsuits.
Yeah, and now he's like thriving just because he pushed through.
Dude, in Michigan, Gretchen Whitmer, this insane fucking bitch, and she's a governor of Michigan. She shut everybody down. She had people arrested for gardening in their front yard. All right. Her approval rating was so low that she orchestrated a fake kidnapping of herself with the FBI. I swear to God, she orchestrated a fake kidnapping of herself. She should be in jail.
Yeah.
She got reelected.
It's insane.
So, like, this is what I'm saying. If you're somebody that's in Michigan who believes like I believe, and just leave. You can't win.
Yeah.
Now people get mad at me for saying that because they're like, New York, Governor Hochul only won by 100,000 votes, and there's got to be 1 million New Yorkers in Florida. Fuck it. Have it. It's yours.
Yeah.
We'll come back in 10 years when it's hollow and dried out, buy everything for cheap. Give it to them. Burn it into the fucking ground. East fucking Berlin, West Berlin. We'll come back in 20 years and we'll get the fucking, we'll buy everything back from you once you've burnt it to the fucking ground. I'm not spending the next 20 years of my life fighting the fucking machine when I can have a fucking condo on the beach. And neither should you. Neither should you. Yeah. Fight from a position of strength.
Yeah. Life's too short.
Life's too short to fucking be throwing punches that can't land. Find a stronghold. Find a place where you can live your life successfully, and then fight from there. One of the best things the Irish ever did is leave because of the fucking Brits.
Yeah. Get away from them.
Northern Ireland is still under British control. But when the rest of Ireland went over to America and said, fuck this potato bullshit, these fucking wig-wearing pieces of shit out here genociding us. Catholicism was illegal. Prima nocta. Let's get into that. You over here taking fucking Irish.
That's where you get first dibs on the.
Yeah, the lords of the land were like, hey, cool marriage you got there.
Brides,
yeah, I'll give her back to you when the wedding's over.
Yeah.
That would be an alternate for my dinner table. Would be like either William Wallace or Mel Gibson dressed as William Wallace.
Robert the Bruce.
They can be the alternate if someone can't make it,
Yeah.
If someone's got another obligation.
If his horse breaks down or some shit.
Nobody maybe in the history of movies has gotten fucked over more than Robert the Bruce in Braveheart.
Yeah.
Robert the Bruce is like George Washington. Robert the Bruce is an absolute hero of Scotland.
Yeah.
And they made him out to be such a fucking weasel in Braveheart.
They put it in at the end though, but I heard they were almost going to leave that out. People were like, no, you need to put in at the end that he came around and
Yeah.
He brought Scotland together. And
Yeah, literally led Scotland to independence that they still kind of have today. But in that movie, like, it's like, he's a weasel. What a piece of shit. Yeah. But, dude, they come to America, and where does the IRA get all their fucking money? Where does the IRA get all their guns? Where does the IRA get their stuff to fight back against the British from? America.
Our grandfathers.
That's literally, Irish
Our
cops,
great-grandfathers,
cops in Boston and New York for sure. Like don't stay there. Go somewhere where there's a place where you can fucking get strong and then fight from a position of strength.
That's how I feel when I move in here. Like London, I'm from London, born and bred. London's one of the best cities in the world, but just the standard of living is so much better here. I'm like,
is it really?
Yeah, man. I'm like, I'll never go back. Grey, raining, 2 weeks of summer if you're lucky.
Wow.
And it's just like, why would I ever go back? I miss my people, but once you get far enough removed and you get over the homesickness, it's like, why would I ever fucking leave this? Every day. Sometimes me and a teammate of ours, Ange Lusa, he's from Switzerland. Yeah. We come outside, outside the gym, there's palm trees and sun, and we're like, I live on vacation.
Hell yeah.
I live on vacation, man.
I'm on vacation.
On holiday.
I'm on holiday. Where do you think the women are better? Make you think the women are better in South Florida or South London?
I don't. I'm gonna have to go with South Florida.
Yeah,
people in
I have to guess.
British people.
I don't know enough about.
There's stereotypes about British people, like they have really bad teeth, which is right. I'm lucky I have no British blood, as I said, so I got good teeth, but they have terrible teeth. Terrible accents as well. The accents are great on guys, right?
Yeah.
But
Guy Ritchie movies are fantastic.
You don't want to go like, imagine you talk to a girl,
Yeah, you ever...
Hey, blowing me. Drink, love.
It's funny. Adele has the nicest voice in the world. It's so funny you said that. Have you ever heard Adele like Adele. in a
Yeah, she's from North London. She's actually like me. She's like a working class girl.
Yeah, have you ever heard her in an interview?
She's
oh my god. I thought it was like it's like, Jesus Christ, that's the nicest voice on earth. What the fuck just happened there?
I was touching on this earlier. Like living here, I had to change my accent because my dad is a real Cockney, like the movie Snatch. He calls me, "Hello, son. What's going on? Yeah, what's going on, son?" So like, but living here, I have to.
Do you know the word nemesis?
Nemesis.
Brit talk. Yeah. So I've had to change my accent. But like, it's funny if my brother comes to visit me and he sees me talking to someone, he's like, the fuck? When did you start talking like that? Because I have to start enunciating, pronouncing my T's, my R's. You know, usually I'm like, "Thank you." Thanks a lot.
It tends to happen to me too, man. I don't know if it happens to you, but when I'm in Jersey for a couple of days, Jersey starts getting very thick again.
And then you come back.
And I come back.
Do you want to hear my Jersey accent?
Please do.
It's probably terrible. I don't want you guys to
see.
be too judgmental. It's like, can I get a coffee and a hot dog?
Get the fuck out.
Get the fuck out of here.
Get out.
Stick it up your fucking ass.
That's not so bad. That's not so bad. Yeah, we just did the trailer hitch. Didn't like that.
Because I hurt my hand. I just fought in Brazil 2 weeks ago.
Right, bro. I wanted to talk about that.
Bro, Brazil
took a short notice fight, went down to Brazil, fought in a favela.
Favela, yeah. Favela.
Yeah, I clearly haven't been to Brazil.
Bro,
sounds delicious.
When I first started fighting, I was like, this sport can take you around the world. I want to fight in America.
Wait, it's not what is it?
A favela.
Favela.
Yeah.
Favela, yeah.
Favela, all right.
This was a different time.
But I said I want to fight in Asia, which I've done. I want to fight in America, which I've done because I live here now. And I want to fight in Brazil and Russia. So I've ticked off 3 out of the 4. I still need to go to Russia.
That's what's
Russia's
up.
Next.
Yeah, they're the places you want to fight, like the places that are like edgy.
About Japan.
But bro, Japan. Originally it was Japan, but I fought in Singapore, so that's kind of, it's not far.
Where in Brazil did you fight?
In Rio. And
wow.
I didn't know it was going to be in the favela. It was on TUCO, which is like the biggest show in Brazil. Went down there. I didn't know much, you know. It was all like through a middleman. So even when I got there, I was like, fuck. And when I first went there to like meet the promoter, I was in the fucking favela. I think it's the favela that Jose Aldo's from because it's his head coach.
Shit.
Andre Peteneris that promotes the show. Dude, we went there and I was like, fuck. This is in the fucking favela. There's chickens running around, fucking people with no shoes on. Crazy. And I was like, fuck. But I went with Daniel Gracie. So when you're rolling with a Gracie in Rio, it's like, you're like royalty, you know, people, you can't pay for meals. It's like,
wow,
it's crazy. Yeah. And he was like, you'll be fine, you know. And another thing they don't tell you, he's like, you'll be fine. You're huge, you know. In the favelas, everyone's fucking malnourished. You're like the biggest guy in Brazil. I'm like, damn. And you got a little cauliflower ear. Like, I was fine. Just walking around in my flip-flops, my vest, I wouldn't wear like a Rolex or anything there, but it was crazy.
Don't run that.
As a young guy, there's a lot of stereotypes about Brazil. Like,
Sure.
you think the food, the women, like everything's gonna be amazing. It was good, but it wasn't like. It was like 8 out of 10.
Oh, coming
Yeah.
from Brazil hard here.
Yeah, it was like 8 out of 10. And bro, my mum's from Brazil, so it was. But I've never been. Don't speak Portuguese, so it was a big deal for me to go there. That's why I was always saying yes.
What was that story you were telling? You started to tell us off air, and we were like, save it for the podcast. You're talking about your pops when you were born. You said you got 6 middle names.
Yeah, I got a long name, bro. On my birth certificate, it goes like down.
It's like a
to the
scroll.
side. Yeah, I think I got 8 names. So
Oh, shit.
My first name is Yorgo, after my granddad, which is Georgios in Greek. Toga, Tuco, Elliot, Casley, Harry, Marios, Tokkos.
Wow.
Wait, what?
Wow.
You were named after the seven dwarfs?
My dad gave me 6 middle names. Toga after Animal Party when they wear the togas.
You're kidding me.
I swear, bro.
It's like, I want my son to be named this.
Tuco, which is the name I go by after The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Okay.
Classic, one of the
Right.
best movies ever.
Yep.
Certain old timers.
Oh, that reminds me. I got a bone to pick with you.
All right.
What was that movie you recommended me a while ago?
I don't know, bro. I know
You don't
a lot of
remember?
movies.
Like something Big Trouble in Little China?
Yeah.
Tried watching that, bro.
I love it.
Not dig it.
I love it.
How
I did not
can you
dig it.
talk
And also,
smack about
I
Big
thought the good, the
Trouble?
bad, and the ugly had a lot of
Too
slow
slow,
parts.
too slow for you. Didn't like Children of Men either,
Bro.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, too slow.
He might have ADHD.
No,
I definitely have ADD.
The movie's got to get to the point, which is odd
Big
because he
Trouble in
loves
Little China
he
is a
loves
cult classic.
It's amazing.
Bro.
I actually just read something about Big Trouble. in
Maybe
Little
if I
China.
watched it as like a little kid, I don't know. It was like,
It was supposed to be like another Snake Plissken film,
Right.
But Russell went to Carpenter and was like, I don't want to get typecast in this one role. What if we did the exact opposite? What if I was John Wayne, but I actually sucked at fighting?
Yeah.
And he was like,
Bro, that movie is perfect.
I love that movie.
There's no mistakes in that.
I do
I don't
love
know.
that movie.
I like Snatch
masterpiece.
better.
Snatch is a classic too, but I'm
Very
biased.
different films,
I'm
very
always going to
different.
be biased because it's a British
Hey,
classic.
Kurt Russell, minor league baseball player, libertarian.
All those Guy
right
Ritchie
there, so,
movies.
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I couldn't get into it. I gave it a try.
I love that you had different continents that you wanted to fight on, and that you
Yeah.
kind of checked those
Bro,
off. Have you fought? You fought in Dubai. I know. Have you fought?
No, I didn't
internationally?
fight in Abu Dhabi.
Oh, you didn't
I
fight there?
cornered out there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So
I
have
cornered Matt Brown.
have you fought in America primarily and only?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, so then what would your bucket list places to fight?
Well,
be?
so I got to fight at Madison Square Garden
That's
and
pretty
at
sick.
Prudential Center.
What the fuck was
which is-
Madison Square Garden like?
It was cool. It was,
Could
it was
you
very
take
close.
it in at all? Were you like, I'm in fucking Madison Square Garden
Yeah,
right now?
yeah, for sure. I feel like that's always one of the biggest shows of the year. Like whenever they're like they go there in November.
Would
it's
you
always
fight
like
at
a sick
MSG?
show. Took my first loss there.
Oof.
Yeah. I fought at Prudential, which is really cool. I want to fight MSG again. Obviously, gotta get a rear naked choke up
But
in
that's
the
so
garden.
local,
but
bro. That's so local to you.
I know, but like that was cool to me though.
Yeah.
Like growing up, like going to see, like I'd seen
Yeah.
Ranger games at the Garden, and I'd seen basketball at Prudential. Some of the
Wow,
Nets
man.
play.
That's like saying I fought in the Coliseum.
Yeah.
Man. You
I
fought
fought-
in the Garden.
I
That's
fought
sick.
at Wembley, which is our equivalent.
that's dope, yeah.
And I used to watch like Prince Nazim and these guys.
Really?
Like, box
Yeah.
there.
Oh,
And
Prince
then I-
Nazim. Remember Prince
and then I got to
Nazim?
fight at Wembley, so that
Hell
was,
yeah.
that was sick. But
Yeah.
yeah, but like our boy Brendan Allen, who's like soaring right now. He's in the top 10 in the UFC.
I was watching his last fight while we were doing a podcast.
No
actually,
way.
yeah.
Bro, he just came to Brazil with me and he beat the best Brazilian BJJ guy. They said this
Choked
guy,
his ass out.
They said the guy
Really?
might have the best jiu-jitsu in the whole UFC, any division, like at that time. And I knew Brendan was better, man. And Brendan submitted him. It was crazy. But then he came to Brazil. He was a little bit like, damn.
Afraid they were gonna
loved
jump him for that? Yeah.
Nah, they were
They
like,
gave him
he's
mad
got
love.
game. They were like, can we take a picture with you? Everyone was
hell
asking
yeah.
for pictures, coming up to him,
Wow.
shaking his hand. Yeah.
Wow.
It was sick.
He's
And
got
then-
another big fight coming up.
Yeah,
Main event.
His first scheduled main event in June. That's gonna be
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah, hopefully he just keeps going up and up. But I was more worried about him in Brazil because he's a real gringo. Like he wears socks and sandals and shit. And I'm like, bro, just don't speak when we go places. Like, just don't say anything.
Why is Brazil really? It's about
No,
that
but it's
life
like
or
he
what?
sticks out. Yeah, Brazil's dangerous
Really?
as fuck. Yeah, but he sticks out like a sore thumb. So with the socks and sandals, damn, bro.
Yeah.
But it was a little intimidating when I fought. Like when you walk out, they're all shouting like "You will die" and in Portuguese. Yeah, but then I beat the guy, and after I was like, waving.
Love
to
it
the
here.
crowd. Yeah.
Thank you
yeah.
guys.
They
Big
liked me.
fans.
Well, and you were asking like if another place I'd want to fight, Boston Garden.
That'd be dope.
I think that'd be cool. I don't
That'd be
remember
dope.
what they call it now. I think it's like the TD Garden.
TD
or some
Garden,
shit
yeah.
like
Is there
that.
no
Yeah.
countries that you want to go to?
I don't know. I mean, yeah, like for like traveling and
No,
shit.
to
Like
fight. Like, is there a country?
I don't know, man. Honestly, Japan would stand
Yeah.
out. I feel like that's cool. That's kind of like
I've been to
the
Japan,
original,
Japan,
like the mecca of martial arts.
Yeah.
I feel like so. I think that'd be a cool spot.
Tokyo.
But yeah, I don't have.
Mickey go Tokyo. Mickey go Tokyo. Ah, Mickey-san. Ha.
Have you ever been to Japan?
No, but I'd love it.
Bro, it's crazy.
They love
They'd
sumo
never see
fighters out
someone as
there.
big as you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hell yeah.
They would love you, bro. When I spent so much time in Asia, and people come up to you it'll be like a husband and wife, and he's like, go, like, let me take a picture of you and my wife. Oh yeah, in Thailand, handsome man, handsome man, like good job, handsome man, yeah. Take a picture with my wife, handsome man.
I want to go to Thailand.
Thailand's amazing.
Never been there. I've wanted to go to Brazil since I was like a teenager. Started
Bro, you
doing
have to
jujitsu.
go, bro. Black
Yeah, I know.
belt. It's such a big part of your life.
Yeah.
Going there, like when I went there, we went to train gi a couple times, bro. And you go
Yeah.
on the mats, and there's like 25 black belts. You're like, wow.
Does Daniel Gracie still have a school in
ages.
Philly?
He moved to Vegas now. He still has an academy in Philly.
Okay.
He opened an academy in Vegas, and yeah.
Is there something
I didn't know
different doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in Brazil? Did you feel like it was?
I'm gonna
like,
be honest, right? They're probably gonna come for me for this, but like me and Brendan, we're MMA fighters. We can wrestle. We have probably higher fitness.
It's American
average.
Jiu-Jitsu's
Bro.
has come up, man. We got the wrestling
We
and the.
didn't want to
especially
say it out
sambo,
loud.
sambo.
if you look, if I think like the kind of like for a while like New York, like especially like that Henzo Gracie room in there, like that was probably the best jiu-jitsu room in the world. You know what I mean?
Like,
We got like that American wrestling mixed with that Gracie jiu-jitsu. So I like to make the distinction between Brazilian jiu-jitsu, Gracie jiu-jitsu. I think Gracie jiu-jitsu
What's the difference between the two?
one comes straight from the Gracies, the others, you know what I mean? There's some that's like luta libre, like there's like
There's
different
different
like
lineages.
different-
going
yeah.
back.
Like, what's the tangible difference between the two? Is it the style?
Elio
that they teach?
I
So
mean
like
that'd be
10th
kind
Planet
of
is like 10th Planet's known for all
just
their
no
like
gi.
inverted guards and like
flexibility.
they use like kind of some certain like wrestling techniques, like spladles and different like positions like that. But yeah, I don't know. I just think I think the Gracies that's like the kind of the purest. You know what I mean? Like they're the originators of it.
So,
like
so if I understand
Carlos and Elio
correctly-
Gracie, they were taught it by Japanese jiu-jitsu
Maeda.
guy.
Maeda?
Yes.
He took Japanese jiu-jitsu.
Well, judo, right? It all starts from judo.
No, there's
originally?
Japanese jiu-jitsu,
But there's
which is more like standing, right?
Well, the judo's obviously standing, but yes, it was like I think the Japanese jiu-jitsu was like a little bit of a mix. It was less leverage based.
Yeah.
Where it was still very like it had like the submissions and stuff, but Elio was like a sickly kid. Elio Gracie, like he was very small. Like dude was probably like 120 pounds, but he made it so that a smaller person could overtake a bigger person using leverage, the shortcomings of the human body.
Sure.
So that they kind of revolutionized it.
Yeah, they made it more realistic because it was so like Japanese jiu-jitsu was so like formal,
Aikido-ish, you know what I mean? Like
so they were
Steven
like,
Seagal-ish.
when we fight, we end up falling on the ground.
So what's interesting? My father was a Olympic alternate in judo, and his understanding, and I guess this changes obviously over time. So like when I was telling him I was doing jujitsu, like he thought it was like like I'm doing like karate, like you're like, well, just do wrestling or do judo like a man. And I'm like, I think jiu-jitsu is pretty fucking manly, dude. Like, like so his thing in the 70s, it didn't have the same prestige, I don't think, within the martial arts community as it does now. One of the things I love doing is
seeing like taekwondo places in a strip mall.
Well, this is one of the things I love needling Mickey and his fans about, and I love getting under their skin. Is like I like picking at like which martial arts are like real and which ones aren't. And Nick's such a martial arts guy. He's like, no, any martial arts is good, and there's no way I can get him to.
That's It's not exactly it. He'll say things like, so like a football player would beat up like a karate guy, right? And I'm like, no, a football player's gonna rush in. A karate guy's who knows how to throw a fucking punch.
That's not what
they're
I
gonna
said.
be better.
Okay.
They're gonna be
That's
better
not exactly
off.
what I said either. That's
We
not
had
exactly
this-
what I said
we
either.
had
And
this
there's
conversation
Kempo
once.
karate. There's you know what I mean? There's like karate's like is a combative.
Yeah.
You know what I
But
mean?
we had this conversation. Me and Phil Hawes. He's in the UFC. He's a beast wrestler.
Phil. Yeah,
One of the best wrestlers in the sport. We were doing strength and conditioning. There was a 300-pound D lineman there, and I was like, "Do you think he could run you over?" He's like, "Never." I'm like, "Bro, it doesn't matter how good your takedown defense is. This guy is 300. He's a car.
Yeah.
He was like 350. He's gonna run into you.
Right, you don't want a collision. You don't want a upright collision with them. But if Phil brings his hips back and shit, and this guy, you know what I mean, has some better leverage, he could be all right.
So
Maybe.
to use the greatest fighter of all time's terminology with this, Brendan Schaub, there's levels to this stuff, Papa. So I will say there was a certain level that I did jiu-jitsu at where I was just bigger, stronger, faster. It really didn't matter, right? And then you get to a guy who actually knows what he's doing, and he fucks you up.
Yeah.
And it like, so the idea of like the belt structure to me is always kind of stupid, like white, blue.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, it's almost like amateur pro. Like it's really black and white from in my experience. Like, all right, this guy you can out athlete regardless of whatever, and this guy you can't out athlete. You better learn some fucking technique. This guy's gonna fuck you up, dude. Like David Adib was half my size. That dude would break every bone in my body if he wanted to. There's nothing I could do to him, no matter how big and strong I am, right? But then there's other guys, or even the kid I was training with that's the same belt as me. The kid that you had me go last with. That guy was fantastic.
Danny Fisher.
That guy was fantastic. He was 100 pounds less than me, and he was on me like white on rice. That guy was fantastic, man. And that's like, now he has, I feel like, that combination of like that size, speed, strength, that tenacity, and the technique, and that's when you have a real problem.
I don't understand what you're saying about with all the belts though. Like it's just because someone's a blue belt doesn't mean they'll automatically beat a white belt. Like you know what I mean? Like
but that's kind of my problem with it. Like there's
gray area.
Yeah, it's
in
a
all that shit.
combination of like time served, time training, techniques learned. Like
it's not like
supposed to
you
be
get a
rough
blue belt when you
guide.
could beat every white belt.
Yeah,
it's like
supposed to be a rough guide.
Yeah.
You know, but I was subbing black belts when I was still a brown belt.
I was doing it I had it as a white belt.
That's
I tapped
That's
black
my
belts.
point, though. Like, so the one.
But that doesn't. But there's difference. There's different athleticism and strength, and
so you're agreeing with me?
Well, no, I'm not. I'm not saying that it's. But you're saying that the belts are stupid,
They're arbitrary. I feel.
arbitrary.
Yeah.
No, there's a structure to get there. You have to show up for a certain amount of time and put in your practice and show an understanding.
It's supposed
more
to
of
be
an
an
understanding than a skill or than like an ability thing.
I guess that sounds a little participation trophy to me.
I'm in the
Like, if
middle.
you're a black belt, you should be like you're a bad motherfucker, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like that like you look at somebody like, damn, that dude's a black belt. Like, fuck, that's SEAL Team 6. Like, that's a fucking army.
Yeah, but then
ranger.
what
I think
about
that's
when
just
he
your
started-
own. That's your own thoughts.
Then that guy's
kinda.
gonna
It is, I mean-
age, maybe not train so much, and then
Yeah. So what happens if All right. So if like me and TUCO are black belts. When we're 100, do we lose our black belt because we're not as physically capable anymore? Should they take it away from us?
he's gonna be like, yeah.
No, I feel like you think I should say no.
I'm in
probably.
the middle. The
It
belt,
doesn't- it's an understanding. It's a knowledge. It's like you getting a black belt is like you having like a doctorate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
Okay.
like you've gone to school.
Sure, okay.
You've shown up. You've taken up all this knowledge. You know what I mean?
But there could
That's
be
why
a
they call you a
nurse.
professor when you get your first stripe on your thing, because you're literally like you've spent enough time where you understand this like a fucking science.
I've never thought of it that way. That's an interesting perspective. I've always thought it as like a level of competition.
It's not. No, it's because not all jiu-jitsu people are competitors. I'd say most aren't. Most of them aren't. But it is practical, because if they're on the street and someone doesn't know, they're they're not going to get fucked up. You know what I mean? They're going to be able to subdue and at least control the person. They should be able to.
But you're right. There are exceptions. Like he just used an example of a doctor. There could be a doctor that has all these doctorates, but then there's a nurse who can fucking
Sure, Mickey
take
says it all the time.
blood
There's
or-
C-student
There's
doctors.
C-student doctors who are the bottom of their class.
Yeah,
you
so
know?
I think it's the belt system's supposed to be a rough guide and it's supposed to be an indicator of ability. But of course, there are exceptions. But when both guys are trained, have the same technical ability, then athleticism, strength. That's what I found with me and Brendan. Like, we were training with black belts that had multiple degrees, stripes, and and we would. I don't know how good they were, but we were crushing them just because we're younger, bigger, stronger. We could wrestle, and then like on the low, we were going off the mats, being like, "Yeah, crutch. I got that guy.
If you're a professional grappler, if you're a jiu-jitsu practitioner, like a Gordon Ryan, and there's a certain set of rules that you've become used to, does that then hurt you in other competitions like open grappling or something like that? If he were to go against a wrestler or a sambo guy, if he's used to jiu-jitsu rules, or
he'd lose in a wrestling match.
Yeah,
but yeah.
In wrestling rules and wrestling,
I think they did like him and Bo Nickel did like a wrestling match and
Pat Downey, he done one with Pat as well.
Yeah, so he lose the wrestling match, but
as soon as he's able
win
to
the
submit
submission
them,
one.
he just sits down and submits him.
Interesting. So the point system structured differently, and then obviously goes to MMA. It's a whole different world. Whole different game altogether.
Sure.
Interesting. 100%. So do you think that that's very interesting. So do you think that American style jiu-jitsu you were talking about before, that's kind of that deviation, is that more wrestling infused, or
yeah?
And then do you think that's better specifically for MMA?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, I think that's
the example he's talking about. Like, they went over and went to the the Mecca of jiu-jitsu, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, and were able to have success against guys who are had done more time than them just because of their influence.
Yeah, by our standard, their jiu-jitsu was dated, because it was too traditionalist. Like,
and what do you mean by that?
Like, they were like doing, their techniques were just like, we're like smash passing and wrestling, like double legging these guys, and they're like, oh, they're waiting to pull guard and try and do spider guard, and we're like already fucking on them,
Yeah.
Just like everything American.
So it's a little more aggressive.
A more effective, quicker way to do stuff,
It's you have drone strike.
The best word to describe it is American.
So what would be the difference then about American jiu-jitsu from Brazilian jiu-jitsu? So
wrestling.
Like wrestling.
Probably, wrestling.
So it's like shooting and stuff, double legs, single legs, being able to scramble.
Yeah, but even
no, it's also I think a little bit of a roughness too. Like, where jiu-jitsu is the gentle art. You know what I mean? Like, I could beat up someone 10 times without really hurting them. You know what I mean? By using like jiu-jitsu, if you use jiu-jitsu gently, you know what I mean? But you could also, you can use the roughness, and you can make it more of a brutal style. Where you could this is another one. There's a funny one that David Adib said. So David Adib he was one of the most nice, loving guys you'll ever meet. But he was a little bit of a badass back in his day. Like, he was like Israeli special forces. Like, he would say, he's like, if you choke someone out in like a street fight, make sure you rub their face on the ground so they know they got fucked up. because they'll wake up feeling good. Like, wait, what happened? Nothing happened. I'm fine. Like, you know what I mean? Like, in the fights, you got to make sure they know they got fucked up.
Aubrey, is that what they teach you guys at Mossad? Is that part of boot camp?
I can't expand on that without revealing some government secrets.
Yeah.
Comment.
You gotta make sure they know they got a little fucked up, because you can easily like put someone in a choke, and it could be pretty.
I don't even remember, but this is a soundbite here. What I'm gonna say, right? And me and Brendan, we were training in the academy in Vegas at Daniel Gracie, and I was going with a purple belt who's been training for 6 years. I don't know, and I was just having my way with him, doing whatever I want. He had succumbed to my will. And then I left there and I was thinking, I was like, man, and that's against someone trained. Imagine an untrained civilian. I was like, bro, we're actually superheroes. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, bro, it's like, you see the way Hulk just grabs a guy and just smashes them like that? I was like, I can do that to someone.
Bro,
I can literally go to someone walking outside, walk up to him, arm drag him, suplex him like the Hulk, and just kill him.
Yeah.
Dude, I've said for
I just want to go to fucking Arby's. What happened here?
I've said it for years. Like, having like if you have a blue belt in jiu-jitsu, which means you've studied it for like a year, maybe a little more, you have a superpower over a person who's untrained.
Over 99% of the world.
100%.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like you understand the leverage and how to physically dominate someone. Where people are untrained people aren't gonna know the right ways. You know what I mean? It's not like we're not like tigers or lions who are just born knowing how to, find that neck and instinctually. Like we need to be taught that stuff,
Not only that, I think the other side of that coin, the other superpower is you're not afraid, but you're not afraid.
Yeah.
Right? Like in conflict situations, some of this never been in
ignorance
conflict.
can be bliss.
Yes and no. I mean, maybe if alcohol is involved and you feel like you're Johnny Big Balls, but most of the time there's a nerve. You're like, oh, what's gonna, you'll like flex or you'll bark or you'll get loud.
Dude,
or something.
when I see freaking red, bro. When I see red, forget about it.
Yeah,
dude. If I get angry,
bodies on the floor.
If I get angry, y'all ain't see me angry. If I get angry, I'd be the UFC champ.
But bro, for me, like,
I've heard people say like, yeah, dope, but if I get angry, so funny, especially
for
people
me,
where we come from.
That's what I find the easiest part of fighting. Like, you can ask Mickey. I've trained with Mickey a bunch. I consider myself skill-wise, I'm just mediocre. I'm decent everywhere. Everywhere. Yeah, I can wrestle a bit. I can strike a bit. Got some jiu-jitsu, I'm not amazing anywhere. I don't consider myself to have any talent.
Yeah.
But my greatest attribute from my life experience growing up in London. I know you hear guys, everyone that says the same cliche story about, oh yeah, I was getting in fights when I was young. And
these yardie boys.
yeah, but where I grew up, bro, it was really like, there's people getting stabbed every day. It was crazy. We've been chased up the fucking stairs with machetes. Like,
you know why? Because you don't have the Second Amendment.
No
yeah,
guns.
exactly.
Yeah.
But bro, so for me, like going into a fight, I'm like, oh, there's a referee, there's rules, there's an ambulance outside, paramedics waiting, a doctor ringside. Like, I don't feel that urgency of like my life is at stake. But people that don't have that life experience, they do.
Yeah,
So
it's
for
almost
me,
more structured.
You think that's an advantage or a disadvantage to you in a fight?
Sometime in the fight, it's got to be an advantage. But before the fight, sometimes I feel like I can't get.
Like you're not get up for the moment?
I've cornered guys and they're like huffing and puffing. They're like a bull in a china shop.
That's what I think. I think there's an advantage to both. Like I think at the end of the day, being more relaxed is a good thing, but also you want to step up for that moment. Like when you feel those butterflies, you put those butterflies in a flight for you and put that, you know what I mean? That like almost can like supercharge you a little bit.
Yeah, I'm still smiling when the fight's about to start. But for me, like, there's the stereotype about MMA is like, oh, they're all these tattooed, Mohican wielding fucking degenerates. But now it's like, now we see it's more, they're stinkers, that fight.
Well, there's like two different camps, right? You have like the guy who's a pro athlete, and then you have the other guy who's like kind of the sideshow type of guy, right? Like,
but even back in the day, you had Chuck Liddell and these guys that were like riding motorcycles,
for sure,
mohawks,
for sure.
So that was the stereotype. But
yeah, like
less outlaws in the game.
Yeah,
now.
the Frank Shamrock.
You
Tank
missed that
Abbott.
a little
I
bit.
fucking love Tank
You
Abbott
know what I
back
mean?
in the day.
Yeah,
There's no
what a
Tank
beast.
Abbotts anymore,
I know.
Yeah,
Well, maybe
Don
Derek
Fry.
Lewis. Derek Lewis. Don Fry. Oh, I love Don Fry.
Yeah, Derek Lewis is the
Don Fry.
black
Don
Tank
Fry and
Abbott.
Dan Severn. Yeah. They're fucking great. I do love those guys, and there was an entertaining aspect to that. That they kind of understood that they had to be entertaining. There was a sport that had to be sold as well. But it's interesting hearing you guys talk about the differences and how it evolves. In Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, if I'm hearing this correctly, and tell me if I'm wrong, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu seems to be a little more passive. The American Jiu-Jitsu seems to be more aggressive.
Yeah.
Israeli Jiu-Jitsu is knock somebody out and wipe your ass and shove fucking shit on their nose so when they wake up they smell what happened.
That's Gracie Jiu-Jitsu.
That's Gracie Jiu-Jitsu too.
Jiu-Jitsu.
What would then be British Jiu-Jitsu?
British Jiu-Jitsu. I don't know. We had some good grapplers coming out of Britain, but we're still so small. We only have 60 million people. There's a great picture I show people, and the whole of Britain fits into Florida.
Yeah.
It's like, so we're always going to be just, the pool of talent is going to be much more on a much smaller scale. So I don't know if British Jiu-Jitsu is even really a thing. We got some good guys. They end up coming to train in America.
Good boxing out there though.
Yeah, but we have more like
Lennox Lewis, one of the most
history with that.
underrated of all time.
Yeah.
For me, I mean,
He might. Yeah, I'd say he's one of the goats.
he's one of the, that's the fight. Lennox Lewis versus Muhammad Ali in their prime would have been a fight. I mean, people forget.
Lennox beat everyone who beat him.
That's right. Well, also, I mean, we have recency bias. We don't really. I mean, Tyson Fury 6'9".
Yeah.
Throwing jabs.
Yeah,
100
light on his toes.
6'9", 270 pounds. That's a tough. How would you go up? How would you fare against Tyson Fury? You figure?
Oh, I'd single leg him immediately.
No, boxing.
Oh, boxing.
Yeah.
They'd probably kill me. I don't know.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You think it's easier for an MMA fighter? We've seen that. They could cross over to boxing. And they don't embarrass themselves in the boxing ring, but the few boxers we've seen cross over the James Tonys doesn't go well in the
Damn, we
cage.
forget about that shit, right? James Toney.
Yeah.
Well,
no, it's
in
different.
retrospect, credit. In retrospect, credit to Tony.
It's MMA. They're also the reason why MMA guys don't have the one because of like the tomato cans they fight to build up in boxing, but there's so many ways to lose, so many ways to win in MMA. You know what I mean? It's complete fighting. It's not just fighting from the waist up. That's boxing. So you specialize at one thing. So if you take away those rules, that's why if you look at the Conor McGregor Floyd Mayweather fight,
Sure.
we know if Conor goes to boxing, Mayweather wins. We know Mayweather goes to MMA, Conor wins. You know what I mean?
I can suggest the perfect rule set to mediate that whole area. And it would be, they would box in a cage. They would do 8 4-minute rounds, and they would wear 4-ounce gloves, but boxing. Is that fair, right? And
That'd be
that does make it more. That does make it more fair.
Clinch. You can box in the clinch.
If you could box in the clinch, that's a big one.
Yeah.
That'd be
But you
interesting.
can't join the hands behind
because
the
there's a
back.
difference because
You can just clinch.
It's important to like when you're training for an MMA fight. Like a lot of times we wear big boxing gloves. You know what I mean? But if you can go like this and protect the whole side of your face, you know what I mean? Like this, because you got the big 16-ounce hanging off. But in MMA, you got to be a little tighter because those gloves can sneak through.
Yeah.
You know? So there's different, different.
Conor landed shots. Remember, Conor landed shots. He landed a big uppercut. Imagine in a 4-ounce glove. Who knows?
What do they call that? They call that the Philly shell. The Mayweather has the ones with the
speaking
Philly
of James
shell.
Toney, too.
Yeah, so
I got a great question for you that's relevant here. I just saw the PFL said Jake Paul will fight this year in an MMA fight. They're searching for an opponent. Someone in the comments, like MMA Uncensored or someone, said CM Punk. That as a past opponent of yours, what do you think of that matchup?
I think Jake Paul beat him.
Really?
Yeah.
Because someone's told me like CM Punk trained at Rufus Sport. They said he's a legit blue belt and he still trains. He can grapple.
But I think Jake Paul grew up wrestling.
Damn.
I think he grew up wrestling.
I think they were college wrestlers. The Paul brothers, if I'm correct, they wrestled in college.
I don't think so.
We can verify. We have 2 producers. One of them can tell me.
But that would be a great
went to
fight.
college?
That would be a good first
JUCO,
fight.
baby.
And it's like someone who's on Jake Paul's level fame-wise. That would be a good one.
CM Punk, he's got old balls.
He's got no balls.
He's got old balls.
He said.
Old
Old
balls.
balls.
Yeah. I don't know.
Anyway, Mickey like rubbed his face in the dirt and put shit on his
Yeah, he did. The guy woke up and was like,
Right,
wow, I feel good.
Did you ever speak to him after that?
Logan
I saw him at a
Paul
CFFC.
has
Go ahead, Aubrey.
Yeah.
Logan Paul qualified for the state level Ohio High School Athletic Association, but Jake has no wrestling credentials whatsoever.
No, he must have wrestled a little bit in high school, but maybe it wasn't accomplished. But I'm pretty sure that he wrestled,
Damn. But that could be a fight we could see.
but not in college.
Do you think any of the training that Jake Paul's done is going to translate directly to MMA? Or is it going to be he's going to have to unlearn what he's learned?
No. The boxing is good. The boxing is good. You just gotta bring out that sprawl and maybe change his stance a little bit. You can't be as linear as you can be in boxing. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But yeah, it all helps.
Maybe CM Punk's too old now. I don't know.
I got to tell you, I'd probably pay for it.
Yeah.
I'd put money on Jake Paul if they made that fight.
The PFL. Well, Paul's what does Paul walk around at these days? Fucking 220.
Probably not.
Just
that.
do another. Just do another couple.
185.
185. I think.
185. Yeah.
Yeah. Can't believe you brought up Jake Paul.
I don't really take part in all that. Like I don't watch his fights. It's like fuck no.
What's your favorite part of fighting? What do you like the best? What do you
My
do you
favorite
enjoy?
part is, this is gonna sound crazy, but like I've had such a busy life, and when I get in the cage, I love like I'm practically naked, just wearing little shorts. I don't have my phone. Like your girl's not blowing you up, and no one's calling you asking for
Just
anything.
naked with my buddy.
Yeah, no one can get a hold of you. You're in the cage, and they lock you in, and you're like, oh, it's actually a little peaceful. And like with your opponent, like I know his intentions. In any business dealing, any relationship, you don't know their true intentions. in a fight, you know the guy's not going to stab you in the back. He's going to stab you in the front. You know he wants to take your head off, you know? And it's such a weird relationship you have with that guy when you look across the cage at him. It's so real. And in that moment, like, you see yourself in him, right? It's like that quote, you'll probably know it, I don't know. It's like, in the reflection of my blade, I see my enemy or something. It's like, it's a mirror, right? It's like you are the same person in that moment, right? You're coming to kill him, he's coming to kill you. And that's what I love. It's just peaceful.
I agree totally. It's dog eat dog. Yeah. You know what it is. There's no bullshit. There's no hidden agendas.
Yeah, but that's beautiful.
He's gonna want to fuck you up, and you're gonna want to fuck him up. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's simple. And when you're put in that situation, you become so present.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. You're not thinking about next week or you know what I mean. You're thinking about right fucking now. You're not thinking about any other moment but the present.
Yeah,
and then once you get that fucking dub, that feeling's fucking amazing. I always say nothing you can smoke, snort, shoot, or swallow to give you that feeling. That rush.
Everyone
feels
should
good.
do it, but not everyone can do it.
If there was a pill, everyone would take it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
See, it's interesting. You guys both said the same thing, but in his stupid American accent, it sounded fucking like a sociopath. But in your British accent, it's almost like regal.
More elegant.
It was very like, wow, introspective.
Like, if we get into psychology and stuff, like I was talking about this yesterday. Someone said all behavior is either love or a call for love, right? Violence, anger, rage is just a call for love. Like even if someone's being violent towards you, it's really they're deficient somewhere and they just want love, right? Or it is love I could give someone. So
we talked about that a little bit in the Billy D episode, where his acting out, his actions that were very self-destructive were probably a cry for help in retrospect.
Yeah, exactly. It's a call for love. So with the opponent, I'm like, it's me wanting to kill him ain't a call for love in that instant. I'm like, it's more love. It's like it's a mutual respect you have for each other. Like he's got game, you've got game. It's
interesting.
Like, so it's almost like
I feel like it is a call for
because it's you. It's like.
Well, I think it is a little bit of a call for love for yourself and everyone who supports you and rocks with you, your friends, your family. You know what I mean? Like I think like when I fight, like it's not just for me and to just to do damage to this guy, but it's for myself, my future self, my family, everyone. I want to see the videos of them jumping them down, screaming after the fights. You know what I mean?
I do love that when I fight and my brother calls me, like he stays up in London watching it and he calls me,
that's
bro,
cool.
fucked him up.
That's an interesting point though, Mick. Is it easier or harder to fight somebody that you have genuine animosity towards?
I don't know.
Have you ever fought anybody that you had genuine animosity?
Yeah, no. You.
Is it?
Not really. I mean, there's always a little bit because it's like they signed the paper they signed their fucking
so you have to
paper
manufacture that kind of hate.
No, I wouldn't say manufacture. I think it comes pretty easy a little bit. You know what I mean? It's like this person wants to give you half your money, wants to make your fucking family and friends frown and be sad. So fuck them. There's definitely a little bit.
Really?
Yeah. Huh. What do you mean? It's dog eat dog. They want to eat.
Every pitcher I ever faced, I was ever like, "Fuck this guy, I hate him." But there was this idea.
But he's not. But maybe if he pitches at your fucking face, then you might be like, "Fuck this guy."
Then they rev it up, and that was actually what was in my mind when I was asking. Like, there were some games, especially minor league baseball, it's 140 fucking games a year. You're just not into it, bro. It's like I don't want to play today. But if somebody comes up and in on you. Like, this is one of the reasons I talk shit. One of the reasons I was like a fucking full-time shit talker is I needed that juice. I needed that competition. I needed some reason to give a shit about today. Like, let's make it me versus you. Oh, I heard you were a first-round draft pick. All right, you $7 million better at baseball than me? We'll find out. Okay. Like, I needed that to, like, get myself going. And in your sport, I mean, it's such a respect-based thing with martial arts. I like, do you have to find animosity towards your opponent? Do you have to find something to hate? Is it better to hate the guy? Is it better if you don't?
I think that's weakness, Mickey. If I know a guy and he needs to be mad at the guy to fight him, it's like, pull your shit together, man. Like, when going back to, like, stoicism and all this shit. Me, I'm just like...
Very different. You're only doing it 2-3 times a year. If you can't get up for fucking 2-3 times a year, you got to find something else to do, right?
True.
Yeah.
I mean, that was one of the saddest. I'm a huge
I would say
Diaz
it is a little bit.
fan.
It is almost like a little bit of like a fear-based thing. If you need to get there, I think you should have your own discipline and motivation that you're gonna want to fuck this person up no matter what. You know.
So are the face-offs like a real thing then? When guys are like talking shit, are they trying to psych the guy out, or are they trying to get in their own head?
Could be both. Could be putting on a fucking show.
I always play the mind games, man. I'm always super friendly. I'm like patting them on the back, like I assert dominance like that, you know. I'm like, and I always say to guys, thanks for taking the fight, even if I came on short notice.
Yeah.
And thanks for accepting, man. It's hard for people to want to get in there.
They scratch their head, they leave, and they're like, "Fuck, wait, does he think I just took this fight?" Like
I used to say that shit all the time too.
Yeah, I love that. Thanks for taking a fight, man.
Really
appreciate
it.
Like,
has anybody ever gotten into your head in a?
Never.
Never.
No one's ever got in my head ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just too. I don't know.
Would you admit it if they had?
100%. Yeah. I would want to like go into it and address it, but like I said, that's my greatest attribute. Is my mind.
So, you hear guys like Tyson and George Foreman, they wanted to stare at the guy, and they knew if the guy looked down, they had him. But then you look at a guy like Fedor, and he just looks down the whole time.
Yeah.
It's not, it's not weakness either.
John Jones, the same thing.
Yeah.
He doesn't look at people.
I think there are exceptions. Like, I like to look at a guy on a stare down, and there's fights I've had where I finished the guy, and I knew at the stare down.
Me too.
Really?
And I say to my coach, I got him. I tell him.
I've only had it, I think, like once or twice, but I absolutely knew.
Yeah.
I looked at it, and they were like, I could just tell they didn't want to be there as bad.
Yeah.
What did you say? What did you saw something?
I saw
in their
they were
eyes?
almost just like, whatever. Like there was a little like almost like a that.
Was that the CM Punk stare down? You were like, no? What was the CM Punk stare down like?
Well, he didn't shake my hand.
Oh, damn.
Oh, now you hate him.
So now
you hate him.
Yeah, I had my hand out like this, like
I remember,
waiting
and then
for
he
it.
goes,
and
yeah,
then
he does
like,
the whole-
and he like didn't shake and just walked up, and I was like, "You're a fucking actor, bro.
Yeah.
You're fucking acting right now, and I'm gonna beat your ass tomorrow." So something like that. And like,
Wow.
Yeah, like, because it also like it was like. It's like if someone fucking stiffs you, it's like it could, like I had my hand out, you know what I mean? It was the same thing. Like I'm gonna be the nicest guy until fucking you do some disrespectful shit.
This is a Jersey thing right here. This is not everybody. This is a Jersey, New York thing. We have grown up our whole life in a respect economy.
Yeah.
Our entire life, it doesn't matter how much money you have, how much. If you don't show respect, you don't give respect, the motherfucker's gonna get it from you.
Yeah.
As soon as he doesn't shake your hand, it was like
it was like there's a whole fucking sea of people out here, and you just diss me.
Oh, really?
And I was like, oh, motherfucker.
Oh,
all right.
yeah?
Yeah.
It's like that?
And but like I was just prepared to just do because it's also a little bit of like it's like, it's kind of a weird thing. Like we're both going to, we're fighting tomorrow. We're both going to stand up here and like look tough in each other's eyes. Like it's, let's break down the walls and like say what it is. It's not a, you know what I mean? It's part of the show.
Yeah, pageantry.
Right? Yeah. But no, it actually pissed me off. Like it actually pissed me off a little bit. Because it was it was disrespect.
Disrespect.
I think it has no bearing on the fight until it does, kind of thing.
Interesting.
But once I fought a guy, and I thought I was going to get in his head, and then at the weigh-in, I looked in his eyes, and he just wasn't budging. I was like, fuck, I told my team, this motherfucker's coming. And then even in the cage, when they brought us to the middle, he was still there. And after I beat him, I finished him. But after the fight, I told him, yo, I didn't see any doubt or fear in your eyes like once. Even on the night, I thought, you're coming. And he was like, thank you. That's like the best compliment I've ever had.
Interesting.
But yeah.
That's a real recognized
finish
real
that guy
moment.
anyway.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, maybe you should have had a little bit of fear. Maybe fear would have been helpful.
It's crazy. In my group chat, they're like, my group chat, but I have a group chat with like my close friends, and none of them fight. Some of them train jiu-jitsu, but they're like, bro, how'd you do it? You're a fucking savage. I could never. I'd rather do a 9-to-5 job 6 days a week than fucking do that shit.
Bunch of British pussies.
No, they're international. There's Americans in there too.
Yeah. If you're not from America, you're a pussy. Deal with it. But not everybody can be born great. Am I right, buddy?
Fucking A.
But that group chat is wild. It's like, and it goes non-stop because there's all different time zones across the world. So this group chat, every day I wake up and the group chat's got like hundreds of messages.
Really?
And there's always amazing stories in there, man.
So if it's not Punk, who's the guy that you looked into? Are you willing to say who it is? Who's the guy you looked into his eyes?
No. I'll give you guys one though. I'll tell you this. So we talk about in the back room, like how like fights are won and lost back there.
In the back room meeting,
like when you're waiting in the dressing room waiting.
Day of the fight.
Yeah. I lost one back there a little bit. Not because the guy got in my head. I'll tell you a story. So it's actually and it was more in hindsight. I didn't realize it then. But So it was my Madison Square Garden fight. I was watching. They had like the fights airing before, and I'd done a lot of my training camp up at TriStar, and like that's with Faraz Zahabi, and Ayman Zahabi fought before. And Ayman Zahabi, great dude. I look up to him. He was winning the whole fight, gets caught in the third round, knocked out cold. And I remember like thinking, I was like, fuck, like that shit could happen, And it started to get in my head. And when I went into the fight, I was like, I wanted to play it a little safer. Yeah. And I was like, I'm going to get the fight to the ground and I'll finesse this dude and fucking choke him out. And I didn't go in there with that like that same like kind of like
put like a little
killer
seed of doubt into your mind.
Yeah, or it made me kind of like deviate a little bit. Where I, like the best like mindset to be in is be like, I'm gonna come in there and fucking like I'm gonna smash this dude. I'm gonna smash my bones into their face and they're gonna fucking succumb first. But I never really talked about this. But it was kind of a combination of things. But that definitely like put a little seed into my mind where I was just like, all right, I'll I'm not gonna spend too much time fucking around on the feet. I'm gonna, you know what I mean? It's like, a knockout. It's a fucking, it's a little bit of a roll of the dice. We're slinging bones instead of being like, I'm gonna control that fucking dice.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And that's something that you, in retrospect, you realized.
Yeah.
After.
I lost the decision. I lost 2 out of the 3 rounds because I right at like when exchange would start to go, I would kind of shoot early, and I was like, but I also, it was like a little bit of conceit in my own like jiu-jitsu where I was like, I'll just be able to finesse this dude. Yeah. You know what I mean? So me thinking about finesse rather than thinking about fucking smash was part of like my downfall. But I let something else play into my head.
Now is that all the fighter you've cornered guys? Is there something that you do as a coach or as a corner to help the fighters avoid that?
So bro, everyone like makes fun of me in the gym. They're like, coach of the year, because I have a good win percentage, right? And I put it down to my British, specifically London, like my cynicism, my realism. For me, no offense to you guys, I just find American coaching to be so corny. Like they're in the dressing room, they're like, it's your destiny, it's your time, buddy. Yeah, and I'm like, oh man, bro, it makes me cringe. Like the hair stands up on my arms. I'm like, oh my God. You know what I mean? They're like, yeah, you go out there, you take it, buddy. You've worked hard for this. Dedication, hard work, perseverance. I'm like, oh.
That's that wrestling shit.
Yeah, but me, I'm like, I'm so cynical, like with Brendan, like before he fights, I'm like I know his family, I know his kids. I'm like, I say his kids' names. I'm like, yo, they need this check. Like, we fucking need this. Like, you got house payments, you got shit to pay for. Like, because I know him, I say some real shit, and even in the fight, like Evan Elder, I just cornered him a few weeks ago. He had fight of the night, some stud from our gym. He's in the UFC. People were tweeting, who the fuck is this English guy in Evan Elder's corner? Yeah. And then someone goes, not just an English guy, a street guy at that. Because I just have no filter.
What were you saying?
I'm like, fucking smack him back. Like that's just how I communicated it, And I think I was mic'd up. I don't know. They always tell you don't swear at the UFC. You're live on ESPN, don't swear or whatever.
Yeah.
But like,
like that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. Never.
You know what I mean?
Never
Whereas
works.
like, I just say it in a way that it's going to impact them. Like they're going to feel it. It's going to be some shit they'll feel,
Yeah.
Like,
so you find their why. And then
kind of play on their psychology a little bit.
Not just that, it's just the wording. Like, whereas another coach would say, hey, when he hits you, I want you to counter back. Like, I'm just like, smack this cunt. Excuse my French, you know what I mean?
We're international.
Or I say stuff like, don't have that. Like, if the guy's backing you up, that's just how I talk. So I feel like that's very effective. It's impactful, in a real way. Like, I'm not trying to like sweet talk the guy. I'm saying it in the way I would like to have it said. But I just think it's just a recipe. It's a good recipe to have my accent and to be real like I am.
No, I agree. You're not being like generic and just like you know what I mean. Like you're saying like you're saying real shit to him. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, fuck this motherfucker. Yeah. You're gonna let him take all the shit you fucking did? Fuck that. Go kill this dude.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm like clear, concise.
So when it comes
that Evan was fighting Nas. I know both of those guys.
Bro, I know both of those guys.
It's every fucking week I got friends fighting.
Dude,
D-Rod and Ian Gary are fighting.
Damn, yeah,
I got every fucking week I got friends fighting.
Bro, peep this. Next week, UFC Miami, huge card. I go in the gym and Gerald Mearshart trains with us. and Henry says, "You're cornering Gerald next week." And I was like, "Oh, but he's fighting Joe Pyfer. That's my boy from Philly." He's like, "So what? You guys gay?" He's like, I'm like, "No." He's like, "So whatever. You go out to eat after."
You guys are all in the big
Yeah,
leagues
but
now.
but at the same time, Henry didn't coach against Gilbert or Usman.
Yeah, I guess at my level, he's like, "Oh, it's not important." But I hit up Joe because I know Joe. I said, "Bro, look, it wasn't me. I didn't volunteer. They told me I'm cornering him."
Yeah.
He was like, "Oh, it sucks, but it is what it is, you know."
Yeah, you're dead.
But that's gonna be.
I had the same thing like a few weeks ago. It was supposed to be in the beginning of March. I had a friend on the card already, and this one kid, Dennis, is fighting this other kid, Ryan, who I know. Yeah. You know, and I like both those kids, friends with both of them. And then Ryan hit me up and was like, "Hey, can you corner?" And I was like, "Nah, bro. I just gotta recuse myself. Like I'm friends with both of you guys. I don't want to be there fucking telling you how to fuck my friend Dennis up. I wouldn't, if Dennis asked, I wouldn't be there to telling him how to fuck you up. You know what I mean? Like I'd rather just stay out of it."
Yeah,
you
there
know?
is an etiquette there, like in fighting, and guys that don't abide.
So you're actually gonna do it? You're gonna?
Yeah, but I'm not gonna. I'm going as the body, you know. I'm gonna be there, warm him up, but I don't
So you're just
know.
gonna keep your mouth shut in the corner?
I'm gonna try, yeah, but I don't know.
So what is that etiquette? What's the unwritten rule here?
Like if you know two guys, and there's guys I won't name, but it's happened recently where people have fallen out because someone's sided with one of their friends, and they were posting about it, going to the fight, celebrating. I was like, that's bad. If I know two guys fighting, I message them both, may the best man win, love you, hope you both perform to the best of your abilities, hope you get the bonus. I even say I hope it's a draw, but that's what you're supposed to do. If you know two guys, don't post, you know, don't even talk about the fight, you know, you just say, "Oh, good luck," especially if they're in your gym.
Yeah.
It's happened when there's guys in my gym.
Yeah, sometimes I
fighting
won't
guys
even
like
like anyone's pictures.
Yeah,
I'm
you
not
can't even
liking
like
I'm not
the
liking your
picture.
picture. I'm not liking his picture.
Yeah,
I'm
facts.
recusing myself. Like
It's
I'm
tough
not
though because there's such an industry for you guys to pick the fights.
Yeah.
There's such a big part
you know
of the
what?
industry.
This is coming out on Friday. We should pull Christian, pull up the UFC card. TUCO's great at picking fights.
We're not allowed
I
to
always
bet
say
on them anymore
I always say
because-
I'm not that good at picking fights. Although when I pick fights on there,
Pretty good.
it's got a pretty good fucking
got a
record.
pretty good
But I take
Although
my
he
hat
is the
off
king
to
of the
Tuco.
hedge, though. He's the king of the hedge when he's picking.
I take my
He's always
hat
like, I could really see this person winning, but I'm gonna go with this guy. So
Yeah.
you know, he gets both.
That's
He
how I
gets-
talk, asshole.
That's right. Yeah,
I'm goated. I'm goated at calling the fights, bro.
Well,
So we're gonna you want to read through. Let's go through that whole Miami card because this is gonna come out a day before it, right?
should
It's gonna come out Friday.
right, Aubrey?
It's gonna come out on Friday. So yeah, let's.
Yeah, we have to put the
Yeah, this is going to come out Friday.
We're not allowed to bet.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, we're not betting. We're just give it. We can give picks. Though.
Where are we gonna start?
I always give my picks.
Start from the bottom, and if we don't
Early
know it,
like prelims
fuck
or just
it.
the main
Yeah,
card?
if we say skip, if we don't know shit.
Okay. We'll go all the fights. Shah Elan versus Steven Garcia. You know those guys?
Oh, Shailan, he's from our gym. Steve Garcia trains out of Jackson Wink in Albuquerque. He won the LFA belt. This is my knowledge.
See, look at this.
It's out there. Shailan is a guy from our gym. I think he's Kazakh as well, but fighting out of China. Strong wrestler. Steve Garcia's got good hands, but I would take Shailan there. I think he wrestles him and wins that. I'd just take the money line on that because, or maybe you could cover the double chance on Shailan in case he gets a TKO or a sub. But I think he's going to take Steve.
This is what happens when you've grown up in London and you've been doing parlays since you've been 6 years old.
Bro, my cousins used to bet on soccer.
Parlay sounds like a British word.
Parlay?
Parlay.
No, we say an Aki, an accumulator.
Really?
Accumulator.
Now, you talked about, real quick before we move on to the next fight, we talked about the difference between Brazilian and American Jiu-Jitsu. What makes these Dagestanis and these Kazakhstanis like their wrestling so...
Bro, it's just time invested and dedication. We haven't seen too many matchups with Dagestani wrestlers and elite American wrestlers.
Okay.
Like, I would love to see, like, Islam Makhachev go against Michael Chandler and actually wrestle in that fight, you know? I used to think Michael Chandler would give Khabib a good go. Like, we haven't seen that.
Is there a stylistic difference? Is there something
There is a stylistic difference. I don't know. The Dagestanis, their wrestling is different in the sense, like, Americans are more freestyle wrestling.
Upper body. They seem to really do a great job of controlling the lower body.
Americans, Dagestanis have that good sambo influence as well, and they're much better on the fence. American wrestlers have to learn the fence. That's why these guys like Kamaru that mix it up. Like wrestling coaches can't really teach wrestling on the cage. It's like an MMA thing because they wrestle on mats. So it's the best wrestling coaches for the cage and wall work are ex-fighters, I think, who have like 30 fights but also wrestled.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And would you say Sambo is like a halfway between jiu-jitsu and wrestling, or is it its own thing? It is.
Yeah, they compete in a gi, right? And shorts.
A gi and shorts. They got a gi top.
And wrestling shoes.
And shorts, wrestling shoes.
Yeah,
they do
I'd
leg
like
locks.
to see that. I'd like to see elite American wrestlers fight these guys from Dagestan and really see it, but we don't really see it too much. And then if they do have a fight, they just bang because they don't want to find out. It's crazy.
Who we got next?
So I got Shylon as well.
Yeah. Shylon?
Yeah. Who we got next?
Next
Christian?
is Ignacio Bahamondes and Trey Ogden.
Who's the? If you could give the line on these two, that'd be great.
Bahamondes should be the favorite.
I got this listed as a 160 catchweight fight.
Yeah,
Is that
Trey
correct?
Ogden was meant to fight last week. His opponent pulled out. Trey Ogden actually got signed to the UFC instead of me. I fought on Dana White looking for a fight. I choked the guy unconscious with a ninja choke. He was limp. And then I don't recall what I said, but I was saying some ratchet hood shit. I ran up to Dana and I was like, blah, 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 blah. I think I said, I don't even train. Yeah, which wasn't good.
Yeah.
And then they trained.
Well, your problem was you didn't run the guy's face on the ground after.
Yeah,
That was
true.
a mistake.
And they signed Trey Ogden instead of me. I think Bahamondes, he's a really good striker. He trains in Chicago with Bilal Muhammad and those guys. I think Bahamondes can maybe even KO Trey Ogden.
Yeah, I don't know enough about either of those guys.
Trey Ogden has decent ground game, but I think Bahamondes is too good, too rangy. Might hurt him in the first round. I would take Bahamondes.
There you go. What's the next one you got, Christian?
Next one is Cynthia Calvillo versus Lupita Godinez.
I think Lupita is the big favorite here. I typically don't ever bet on women.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because it's haram.
I don't want to be offensive, you know.
Haram.
I don't bet on horse racing just because I don't bet
You
on
say whores?
Horse.
Horse. Oh.
horse racing. Yeah, I don't know. I'd never put my hard-earned
I gotta tell you,
money on-
horse racing would be fun though. Just two girls sitting there flicking the bean. Whoever comes first wins. We might
might
be on
bet on
something
that?
here. I'd bet on that.
Yeah.
I'd watch it
That
too.
would
I gotta
be
tell
a
you,
viewer, huh?
horse racing.
Yeah.
I
We're
just
on
don't-
something
I just
here,
don't-
boys.
I don't follow female MMA too much.
Can you imagine horse racing
I
on
don't really either myself.
Smell-o-vision?
There you go.
Smell-o-vision.
Well, you think Loopy's the favorite?
I think she's a favorite, right?
We got the line, Christian?
Yeah, she's a minus 250.
Oh, wow. Okay, she's a big favorite.
Cynthia had a good start to her career, I think, but I think she got injured. Her form fell off a bit. I'd stay away from that, guys. Or just take Lupita, I don't know.
There you go. All right, now we got Meerschaert Pfeiffer.
Meerschaert and Pfeiffer. Pfeiffer's got great boxing, heavy hitter. He has a lot of knockouts. But Gerald, you can't sleep on him.
Yeah.
He's an old fox. This guy has like 50 fights. He's got 20 fights in the UFC.
Most submissions.
Most submissions in middleweight history. He's the only fighter on the active UFC roster that has over 10 fights and still has a 100% finishing rate. There's some guys that are 3-0 with all finishers, but he's the only guy with over 10 UFC fights that has a 100% finishing rate. Crazy.
I remember Pfeiffer coming. He like coming up in like the same scene as me
Yeah.
because he's from Philly, right?
Yeah. Pfeiffer's he's a savage. He's a killer. But Gerald's such an old fox. You can't sleep on him. Like if he gets you to the third round, then and you get tired, he'll jump on your neck.
So that was gonna be my take. I was gonna take Meerschaert by late submission.
That's a good. When I used to bet, I would always bet on Gerald by submission, and he made me a lot of money. Because it's like the bookmakers are so stupid, they forget all these stats. They don't look at the analytics, as we say, and they give him crazy odds. He's like plus 1,000 for a submission.
Who is?
I don't know now, but that's what he used to
Okay.
be for like submission in the third round. I'd just cover 2 and 3 because he'd get them, you know. But that fight, I think, I hate to say it because I love both guys, but I think it would end in finish. So I would just take the prop under 2.5 rounds or just the fight to end by finish. Yeah. I couldn't pick a winner there because they're both my guys, but they're the best bets.
But it's not going to go the distance.
I don't believe so.
That's
no way.
that's the
Yeah,
bet.
no
there.
way.
That's how you hedge.
Yeah.
I'm not going to pick a winner because I love the guys, but I'm going to
No,
pick.
but
It's not going to
that's
go
what
the
I tell
distance.
people with picks as well. It's like it doesn't matter who wins. When you take the prop, it's
Yeah.
like it doesn't matter who wins, when they win. You're just betting on the method, you know.
Did they find a replacement for the Leech fighting Chiesa?
I don't think so. They offered it to Kevin Lee, didn't they? And Chiesa turned it down. So
He said no, huh?
yeah,
Well, who won when they fought the first time? Chiesa and
Kevin Lee won, but it was controversial.
Decision?
He had a choke that Chiesa never tapped to, but the ref stopped it, and he was like, "I didn't tap." Yeah,
yeah, like
so
that
I thought-
Robbie Lawler
yeah,
Askren one.
I thought Chiesa would have wanted that back, but probably not. I just saw him in
Short notice, I guess.
at the UFC. He was commentating on Brendan's fight on the desk, and then after the fight, he was we were leaving the Apex. We were the main event. It was like late, and he was on the treadmill running for the fight.
Really?
Yeah.
You said Pfeiffer came up in the same scene you did. Was that CDC back in the day? Is that the Atlantic City one? CDDC or some shit like that?
CFFC.
CFFC.
But I remember seeing him fight out in like Pennsylvania. I think I was cornering someone on a card, and he was fighting out there.
He's a great kid, man.
Yeah.
Are there certain
Supposed to
regional
fight one of my friends, but I don't think it happened.
are certain regional areas known to be better than others when it comes to
like
the
PA boys can wrestle. If you got that Pennsylvanian blood,
Yeah.
No, I mean like the like
Jersey,
the fight
PA.
cards, like the CFFC was
Yeah,
in
the
Atlantic
North-
City.
Well, there's
and
strong
stuff.
ones everywhere. Like there, there's regional spots. Like there's they got what they got down here is that's the big one. Is it Titan or
Titan's the biggest show.
And where's LFA do theirs at? They
LFA's,
Texas or
nationwide.
they're kind of all around now.
Fury, I fought for them. They're more
Cage
Texas.
Fury?
No, just
Okay.
Fury.
Fury fighting, yeah.
what would
Cage
be like,
Fury, that's CFFC. That's like in the Northeast. Ring of Combat's a big one in the Northeast as well.
What would be like considered like the NXT? Is there any that's considered like a feeder system to the UFC?
I would
or-
say CFFC is one of the closest
it's all
too.
those
Really?
it's the big.
I
regional
used to
shows.
watch them at the
Which
Taj
my
Mahal.
boy
Those were
Vilson,
good fights.
my
man.
boy Vilson just won the belt last night for them.
Nice. That's
Really?
cool.
Dropped down to 135.
CFFC still around?
Yeah.
Cage Fury fighting championships. Yeah,
Did you
Cage
fight for
Fury.
them?
I've never fought for CFFC. No.
You fought for Fury in Texas?
I tried to, but
I had my first amateur fight with them, and I planned on fighting with them in the
for who?
pros.
Fury fighting.
Cage Fury.
Oh, Cage Fury.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can-
CFFC.
There's like probably 5 big regional shows that feed the UFC.
So it's
Like they'll be on, like
CFFC.
CFFC is on Fight Pass. Like a lot of these shows that are on
Okay,
Fight
wow.
have
the
deals
ones
with
on
Fight Pass. They're usually the feeders.
Yeah, LFA Titan used to
LFA
be
is
Legacy.
Legacy. Yeah,
where's that based out of?
they're nationwide.
that was-
But originally they were either Cali or Texas.
It was like RFA and Legacy.
Oh, you're right, they
together,
joined, right,
One
correct.
was in like Arizona, one was in
What's the big ones down here? Is like Titan.
Titan, yeah. I think just Titan.
Is that
But
it?
Titan used to be real good. They fell off a little bit. But it was like Titan, CFFC, Fury, LFA. I think they're the big ones.
Are they paying the fighters ways out there to fight and stuff? Or
Yeah,
are
they
these
always
guys?
they fly you out and put you in a hotel and they pay regional money.
What type of money is a guy in CFFC
It could be like
looking
it
at?
depends. Like if it's your first
Depends,
fight,
yeah.
it could be 500.
500,
It could be 1,000,
500.
1,000. It
Yeah.
could be you could get 2 and 2,
1,200,
but you sell
yeah.
tickets too.
Yeah, it's
you,
different.
you know.
Like when I used to fight in London, the show was rowdy. It was like gypsies and crazy people there. But I would do a deal with the promoter. There's times I didn't even get a fight purse because I just got more on the tickets. But I'd make so much money, bro, on tickets and
Yeah.
tables and all that shit.
Interesting.
In your hometown. But then when you're fighting somewhere else, it's like
Yeah,
can't
if you
sell one
hustle
ticket.
and shit like that, like you can, and especially in for any fighters coming up, if you sell a lot of tickets, they're gonna give you fights.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if you hustle and sell those tickets, like they're
It's
gonna
a mafia now,
They're gonna
man.
wanna, because the more people
Promoters have
you
their
pack the
guys
place
'cause they
out.
need to make money, so they put on guys who are local that sell tickets, give them easy fights, so
Sure.
they win. It's
Probably like bringer shows for you, kind of.
Very much so.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if you sell like 100 something tickets, like they're gonna be like, Psh, when do you want to fight again?
Hey,
You're gonna have preference over some other guy.
I hate to tell you, bro, that's headlining too. Hey, I'm really funny. Everybody's funny. You sell tickets?
yeah.
Like, can you sell 250
But
tickets?
like,
I'll
but
book
instead
you
of
tomorrow.
right, but you gotta these guys gotta go and meet up with people and physically hand tickets, and now they got like links you can fucking go buy
Yeah,
them from.
yeah.
But like these, you gotta you gotta hustle, you gotta do it like yourself.
That sucks.
You know what I mean? You gotta
So
have
not only do you
face-to-face.
not only are you fighting,
A lot of
training,
times
but
fight-
now you got to go promote
Yeah,
yourself.
and the worst
sell
thing is
yourself.
everybody asks, everyone wants tickets fight week.
Yeah.
So when you're like, you know what I mean? Like people,
God.
you'll be driving all over the place, dropping off tickets and shit.
Yeah.
So
they
annoying,
don't want to
bro.
pay for them neither, right? Like,
People have no
No,
idea.
I think they understand the problem. Like, yeah, you got to pay. There's no fucking hookups on the regional scene, really.
Yeah.
You know,
What's the
you're a
next
real
fight?
scumbag.
You got
Chase Sherman, Chris Barnett.
And Chris Barnett pulled out with an injury. Chase Sherman's now fighting Carl Williams out of
Whoa.
American Top Team.
Breaking
at
news.
Lima
When did this
in
happen?
Atlanta. A few days ago, I think.
Who pulled out with an injury?
Chris Barnett, Beastie Boy.
Well, Chris Barnett,
He's
if you're
the guy that
injured,
does-
you should go to rubiesflowerswi.com. That's rubiesflowerswi.com, and they'll
job.
give you something that you need to fix yourself up nice and quick.
Barnett's
That's
the short,
rubiesflowerswi.com.
heavy black dude who does like the backflips.
Yeah. That was going to be a banger. Like, everyone in the MMA community is sad about that.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know
Chase
the new
is my
opponent.
boy. Carl is a good wrestler. He's going to come to wrestle.
He's a minus 500.
Yeah.
Carl is?
Yeah.
Oof,
Yeah, he's going to come to wrestle and grapple, which has been known to be Chase's
Achilles heel.
Achilles heel. Yeah, so
So taking a fight on short notice is always, you think that's a
but
huge...
they're heavyweights. They're heavyweights, so they don't cut anyway.
You're going to say an advantage or disadvantage?
It's thought to be a huge disadvantage.
Yeah, but
Not
it
always.
depends.
Not
it
always.
depends. You
No,
don't know what
definitely
shape the guy's in. You don't know. He
Right.
just fought a few weeks ago, so
So you got to imagine he's in pretty good shape.
yeah, I wouldn't. I don't know. I wouldn't bet on that fight because it's short notice. It's risky, and
But it's short notice to the guys.
But
I
when-
guess the reason I asked the question, if the guy's minus 500,
Yeah, so
then that means
Chase-
the other guy's what? Plus
yeah.
480?
Yeah, he's
So
gotta be
would it
like-
be
And
So
worth
Chase has
taking a
been the
flyer?
one in the camp who's had the fight.
yeah, Chase has been in camp. So
Interesting.
I would wager a small amount on Chase to win. I don't think there's any way Chase beats the guy by decision because the guy's a strong wrestler. The odds of him fighting off the takedowns 3 rounds and all that stuff. But Chase has heavy hands. He was bare knuckle champion. He's got KOs. I'd wager a small amount on a Chase Sherman knockout, which is probably going to be in
First
the
2 rounds.
It's going to be high up. Yeah,
It'll be, you're
Yeah.
talking like plus 1,200.
yeah. That's
Throw
what I'd
100
go
on
for,
it as a lotto
a
ticket.
small amount. Yeah, but I would typically stay away from that fight because it's short notice. We don't know all the factors.
Interesting.
We can't run the
Now,
analytics.
Nick, you were saying it's not always a bad thing to take a fight on short notice
Yeah. Yeah.
because the other guy will
Well, think about it. Like we just said, Chiesa turned down Kevin Lee. One, probably he's been training for one guy the whole time. You know, when you're doing fight camps at like the high level, like you're obviously working your stuff, but everyone you're going with is going to be the best mimic for this guy that you can find. You know what I mean? If you're fighting a southpaw, you're training with southpaws as much as possible. Going against righties all day isn't going to help you.
Sure.
You know. So yeah, it can be like a switch kind of
there's
for you.
different factors,
It's you know.
What's the shortest
makes
notice you've ever
everything
taken a fight on?
I think 2 weeks, 10 days.
2 weeks, 10 days. It's pretty short.
I accepted a fight on 10 days, but the other guy didn't.
Oh,
'cause-
actually, that's not
yeah.
true. Back in the day, on like my first or second pro fight, the guy I was supposed to fight had a car crash on the way to the weigh-ins.
Whoa.
So they just brought me another guy, but the guy was a scrub.
They literally are just like, hey,
Yeah,
bud.
they found someone. I
Found
don't know.
someone in the audience that night.
It happens.
Hey, does
yeah.
anyone want to fight?
And-
That's how Matt Brown got his start.
I shouldn't
Really?
say this.
His first fight,
But
yeah.
after the fight, it was hilarious because the guy, I'm talking to the guy in the back, like we're both waiting to see the doctor, and he's like, "Oh, what kind of training do you do?" I was like, "Oh, a lot of jiu-jitsu." And he said, "Oh, what's that? The spinning kicks?" He's like, "What's that? The
Yeah.
spinning kicks and shit." I was like, "No, that's the grappling, bro." I was like, "Damn, this guy really is a scrub."
Didn't know what jiu-jitsu was.
Yeah. What's the next fight?
It's Michelle Watterson versus Luana Pinheiro.
Oh, damn! Again, the female fights I stay away from. Michelle's a bit older now. I don't know.
The karate hottie.
I don't know the other chick.
And I don't know the other. I don't know the other girl
We'll
either.
skip that one.
Skip
All
that.
right, next is Kelvin Gastelum versus Chris Curtis.
Oh, great fight.
That's a good one.
Damn, Kelvin.
How old is Gaston? I feel like I've been
He's
watching
still
him
young.
fight
I think he's
forever.
like 30,
Yeah.
31. He,
Yeah, not that old.
Kelvin's got the same management as me. I don't want to like talk ill of him, but I don't know. Chris Curtis seems to have the juice right now. He's
Yeah.
he's very. He has
Gastelum
good
is just 31 years old, by the way.
yeah, 31. I knew it. Chris Curtis has the juice. I think he's like training with better guys. I know Gastelum lost a lot of his good training partners. Vittori moved to Vegas.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
A lot of those guys left.
He's had a lot
left
of
Cali
injuries.
for Vegas.
He's pulled out of so many fights. He hasn't won a fight recently.
He's the favorite.
Gastelum's the favorite.
Minus
Yeah.
132.
I was going to say I would go Chris Curtis there, and Chris Curtis decision probably is a good prop.
Well, the price is right.
I gotta
Yeah.
agree. Yeah, his wrestling look, Chris Curtis's wrestling defense looked
Very
good.
good, yeah.
And yeah, and remember, Gastelum not that long ago fought a real hard fought decision with Izzy.
Yeah. Gastelum's
Gastelum's a dog.
he's a dog, but I would take Chris Curtis as a smart
I
choice
agree.
there. Yeah.
I agree.
Who's next?
All right, moving on. We got Raul Rosas Jr. versus Christian Rodriguez.
That's a
This
young kid.
is the fight that I would tell people to bet on. Raul Rosas, he's got all this hype behind him, but that Christian Rodriguez kid, he trains at Rufus Sport. Everyone was singing his praises before this fight even got announced. Like Brendan, Bilal, all these guys that train up there say how good he is. I would take him. He's probably a huge dog. I just love
what's
to
the
see
line,
the
Christian?
upsets.
For him, he's Rosas Jr. is a minus 230. Christian Rodriguez is a 195 plus.
I would
195.
always take the dog in that fight just because I hate hype trains and I love to be ahead of the curve and bet on the guy, on the underdog who's fighting the hype train. Raul Rosas, he shouldn't be on the main card. Like, he's too young. He hasn't really fought anyone that good, I don't think. He's just a grappler. He don't throw heat or anything. And the other kid's a good grappler, so I would take the dog there all day.
All right, next we got Kevin Holland versus Santiago Ponzinibbio.
Damn, this is one of those fights that's like a bit of a wild card. Like both
You don't know which guy you're gonna get from both of them.
Yeah,
kinda.
exactly. And both guys, they don't excel anywhere. They're both kind of freestyle.
That's not true. Kevin Holland is excellent at speaking during the fight.
Yeah, but he's not like. And he just broke his hands right against did Wonder Boy break? He broke his hand against Wonder
I
Boy.
think he did. Yeah.
Yeah, and they stopped it on the stool, and
Yeah.
that was only in December. And
Well, weren't you supposed to fight Holland?
I want to.
Yeah.
We were never like booked up to fight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
He did call me out, but I was already scheduled to fight Mike Perry. But yeah, I'd like to get that one.
Yeah. Holland seems to have the juice right now with his popularity and stuff, but I would
Very popular,
wager
outspoken.
a small amount. I always like to go against the grain. I would wager like a small amount on like Ponzinibbio decision. It's something no one would think of. They think both guys are going to strike, but I just
agree
see
with that.
Ponzinibbio trying to fight intelligently and just jab his head off and move around. So
He's got very good boxing.
Yeah, I could see that happening. That's what I would go against the grain and go Ponzinibbio decision, which is
Ponzinibbio
like that pick.
understand English well, or
he's Argentinian.
He
Does
speaks
he-
English.
well, if he speaks English well, then he's going to be
And
laughing at Holland during the fight.
He's
so
been in
it's
the
gonna be-
UFC for a while, so that's what I would think, that he's going to come with a strategy and just try and jab his head off. I'd wager a small amount on him by decision, which is probably
What's
high
Holland's strong point? He's a wrestler, right? Is that what he does well?
Holland, he's a jiu-jitsu black belt. He's coined as a kung fu fighter.
Yeah, he's more of a striker.
He throws
he's
hands
he's long.
and he throws kicks, but he's skinny. He's a bit unorthodox, but he's got game.
Yeah.
Who's the favorite there?
Holland's the favorite. He's a minus
So
236.
so you're going with the dog again?
But by just a prop, yeah, by decision. You could take the money line, but I would go a small amount again. Like we have when we give picks, we tell people the lock. Like,
TUCO, this is Gas Digital. Nobody has a lot amount.
yeah,
Everybody's going small amounts only here, buddy.
yeah, good. What's the next fight?
All right, next one's a banger. It's Rob Font versus Adrian Yanez.
Again, I think Yanez is the favorite there. Am I right?
Yes.
That's crazy to me. Yanez is good.
I like both these guys
Yanez
too.
is good and he's a stud, but Rob Font, I think, is a high caliber fighter. Like he's fought in like contender matchups, right?
Beautiful jab.
He's a
Yeah.
plus
He's-
160.
Who is?
Font.
Font. And
What's Giannis?
Yanez is minus 185.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yanez
that's close.
throws heat. He's young.
Beautiful
He's got-
combinations.
Yanez has the juice, but this is another one I'd go against the grain. Rob Font is high caliber. He's like a world-class fighter. He was ranked 4 in the world at one point. He's fought in main
Yeah.
events. I think he has much more experience. And again, his team, they're going to bring a good strategy.
Yeah, that
And,
New England cartel.
Yeah, I think, again, Font by decision will probably be really big odds. And I think there's a
I like that pick as well.
high probability.
I completely agree with what he's saying.
You guys are in agreement on everything so far.
Pretty much, yeah.
Just about, yeah.
All right, next is the co-main. It's Burns versus Masvidal.
Damn, Gilbert's my brother. But this fight, everyone thinks Gilbert's going to maul him, which I hope. But I think people are really underestimating Masvidal. I tried to be smart.
In Miami.
smart about these things. Remember the fights that he lost? He lost to Kamaru, who was a pound for pound best at that time. The first fight went to a decision. Second fight, he got caught. He lost to Colby, who's, they say, the second best guy in the world, probably. But now I know Masvidal like changed his management. I've heard he trained really hard for this fight, and they forget who he is. Like, he went to split decisions with Damian Maia. He had Damian on his back. Like, he has good wrestling defense.
Absolutely.
You saw some of it in the first Kamaru fight. Like, he was defending on the cage a little bit, and he's got hands, man. I think
Strong guy.
He's a plus
fit in the game.
375.
yeah, that's a fight I'd stay away from.
3-1.
He's a 375. Burns is a minus 500.
Like, I'm hoping Gilbert comes out and just mauls him. Like,
I got Gilbert by finish.
yeah, I would love
Probably
that.
a submission.
But that's a fight. If I'm being smart as a betting man, I would stay away from it because the odds on Gilbert aren't going to be great.
Well, just said minus 500.
Yeah, so I wouldn't bet on that fight.
All right, next is the Adesanya Pereira fight.
Damn, this one's good though. So I've seen around, like, I've looked around at, like, I know a few people on Izzy's team, and they've been posting videos of his training, and he's like wrestling. So I don't know. I would just bet on the Adesanya decision, which I told people to bet on last time, and he was so close to getting it.
Yeah.
And but you'd cover insurance the Pereira knockout again. Pereira's only ever going to win by knockout in that fight, so you'd cover that as insurance. But again, that's going to be low odds. You'd want to pick the round maybe if you have any idea what that would be. Third round or fourth round. The later rounds, I'd pick the Pereira KO.
Do some guys just have other guys' number? Is it?
That's what they say, right? Because he's lost 3 or 4 fights to him. How many?
3.
3 fights to him. So
This is their 4th, yeah.
yeah.
Guys, you're welcome for TUCO's fucking breakdown right here. He's been giving you the insurance. He's been giving you
They give you some serious
the
money
props.
here. Yeah.
He's been giving you,
But you'd have to think that they fought the
We have
first
to bring
2 fights.
TUCO back for any other big cards and let
The
him give
first
his,
2
give
fights
his
were
picks.
he lost in kickboxing, but now they've had an actual MMA fight. So you have to think Izzy's team.
This is like
really-
the mountain for Izzy to climb, right?
Yeah,
like,
they've
I mean,
really
how many
broken it
times
down.
can somebody? It's almost like unfair for Pereira at this point.
Yeah.
Like, what was the guy that beat Pacquiao and he ran around the ring?
No, it wasn't
Marquez. But
Marquez,
Pacquiao had beat him 4 other times. There was just nobody else for Pacquiao to fight anymore.
Yeah,
it was
crazy.
like, and it turned out Marquez had hard cast in
his
his
gloves.
his
raps. Yeah.
his raps on top of it all. It's like, all right, well, not cheating's not working.
Yeah.
So,
Bro, I wanted to ask you something. I was cornering last night at Combate in Miami.
Yeah.
And the guy rapping the hands, we got into a little debate because someone who didn't know about fighting asked, why do they wrap their hands? And I was like, to protect their hands. I was like, but the gloves are to protect the other guy's face. And then the guy wrapping the hands was like, I've had 50 boxing fights. The gloves are to protect the hands. I was like, I don't think that's true. Because the first UFCs had no gloves.
I don't think that's. I think you're correct. What the real point is, but I think that's the point of it. But I think I agree with the other guy. I think that the gloves more protect your own hands when they're that small at like 4 ounces. I don't think they protect the face so much.
To stop lacerations so that fights could stop being stopped. Because the first UFCs had no gloves. It wasn't. I think gloves.
I thought it was to kind of to civilize it and make it look a little more like, not like
maybe
maybe. I think that was the
But
intention.
I don't think it's about the hands. I think
the first guy to wear.
But I think what I'm saying is what I think it actually does is that it more protects the hands than the other guy's face or head. But I think the reason that they like instituted the gloves was to make it look kind of less barbaric and
For sure. I mean? So the actual guy.
But I would say it more so like because if you hit a good knuckle, you're gonna bust your hands up. I think it's more protection for the hands.
The first guy to wear the 4 ounce gloves in the UFC was Tank Abbott, and he said it was because he was breaking his hands all the time.
Damn.
And then Don Fry and those guys took it on because they said that especially in the Grand Prix where they were fighting 3 times in a night that it would save their hands. That's what they said. Now whether or not it's factually accurate.
Do you remember
the laceration thing makes sense?
Yeah, that's what I read.
Maybe the wraps with the 4 ounce gloves is overkill. Did it? I don't remember. Did Tank Abbott didn't look like he wrapped his hands? Did he?
I don't know.
So he was wearing gloves with no wraps. Maybe.
What an animal.
You know,
Roy McDonald did more raps.
Yeah, because he wanted to grapple more. Right?
The story I remember about the raps is that one, boxing matches before they introduced gloves were like 6 hours long because no one would get a finish, because no one would want to go for the head because you would break your knuckles. And then people started dying when they introduced gloves because the head. Finally, and that's why those old school boxing stances were very karate-like.
Body.
Yeah, they would do more grappling.
It was
then,
like, it was
and there would be a lot of body work.
It was like
because
who didn't die first would win.
Yeah, it's like a battle of wills.
Yeah.
Do you remember the first fight you watched?
The first fight I ever watched,
Like MMA fight.
MMA fight. It was like illegal. It was at a buddy's sleepover. We had like a fucking VHS or a DVD, and we would like watch all this like illegal stuff his brother would get. Like we would watch ECW, and these girls would take their tops off, and like Sandman would hit somebody over the head, and it was like, then you got to see this UFC thing. And I just remember this guy get punched in the dick like 30 times in a row.
I remember that.
Like
I never watched those like UFC 1, UFC
neither.
2. Yeah, I think the first fight I ever
I was
saw,
like 1.
Yeah,
We were pretty young.
yeah, damn, true. I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
But there was crazy fights in Brazil. I can't remember the name of the show, but it was like Vale Tudo. Chuck Liddell fought down there once, and it was like bare knuckle in a ring, and they had like a net on the bottom of the ring. So
I know what you're
bro,
talking
and there was
about.
headbutts, and I remember seeing one fight get stopped because he was like headbutting the guy in the sternum,
yeah.
and then the guy was like.
I wasn't even UFC the first ones I watched. It was like Pride, I want to say. It was like
Pride,
Boss
yeah.
Rutan.
I think the first fight card I remember like being like watching to like watch was I think it was UFC 83. It was Sarah and St. Pierre rematch.
Wow.
But I'd gotten into it like a little bit before that, and like watch old fights and shit. But I think that was one of the first ones. Maybe I watched Shirk BJ Penn before that. But I remember these were like when I was first like getting into it. I was like,
it's
like
crazy.
15, 16, something like that.
Watching you guys fight now, and then watching this stuff like from old school. It's like watching like 1950s basketball where somebody's dribbling with their right hand to the left, and they're taking like set
Bunch
shots.
of white
and
guys
stuff.
doing granny shots.
Yeah, it's like you're getting like the one dude up there and like doing jump hooks and stuff. And like watching those old school fights compared to the way you guys fight now, it's like watching a couple beer brawlers. Like these guys are just out there like these swimming hooks, and then it's kind of nuts, man.
Yeah, the game evolved. And it's evolving at a very fast rate. And think about it, it's only been around 30 years.
Yeah.
The UFC's only been around 30 years,
Dude, I feel like that from like my first fight to now, which was like 10 years ago, I feel like it's changed so much. Like even everything, the way the show's produced and
for sure. And like just look at like back in the day, it used to be like specialists.
Yeah.
Like, Hoist Gracie
One
was
thing.
the baddest man on the planet.
I actually like that. It was interesting from a viewer's perspective.
It's cool, but nowadays that it doesn't fly. Like you have to be well rounded. You have to be able to do everything, or you get exposed somewhere.
But, okay, so from a normie's perspective, from somebody that's just watching it for entertainment, there was something to watching the boxer versus the kickboxer versus.
That was the idea.
Yeah, it's like who would win, a bear or a gorilla? Now you guys are all gorilla bears. It's like, what the fuck? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like,
that's funny.
You know, like
gorilla bear eagles.
Yeah, you guys are a bunch of gorilla bear raptors. Like, what the hell, dude? I want to know who wins between a gorilla and a velociraptor. Like, be a raptor or a gorilla.
Bro, we got to train you for a fight, man.
G actually wants to take one.
Let's do it, like an amateur fight.
He would do good. He's done jiu-jitsu. It was actually funny. I was gonna bust his balls. Like we were talking about like fights and stuff, and then me like with Christos, and then I felt like G felt like uninvolved, and he told like this long like jiu-jitsu tournament story.
No, we were talking about.
I was like, oh, I'm sorry. Fighters are talking about fights, and he was like, yeah, I had like 6 fights that day.
I did.
I was like, oh, you mean 6 jiu-jitsu matches?
Was about 6 jiu-jitsu matches, which is very difficult when you're fat. So
I've had 6 jiu-jitsu matches 20 times.
Yeah.
50 times.
Yeah, and the point was the coach
Never heard me
sucked.
tell a story about it.
I'm like
tell the story anytime you want.
Matches.
Huh?
That's why I didn't fuck with him the first time. I didn't want to take the wind out of his sails like I just did.
Well, the story ends with me winning gold, TUCO.
Oh,
so
let's
fine.
go.
Oh yeah, of course.
Getting choked out by a 165 fucking.
In the absolute.
Getting choked out by a 165.
Where's your medal? Where's your gold medal?
That's at home somewhere.
He's like somewhere.
He has
an altar that he created of himself.
The altar? No, our apartment is an altar to fucking Mickey Gall.
Oh no,
that's right. Yeah. But yeah, no, it was fun. But the point of the story was the fucking getting in with the right coach and getting in with the right school, because I fucking ended up hating it because of this guy. And I'm like, fucking, I had a torn labrum. I was coming off of a torn Achilles, and this guy like guilted me into doing the absolute after I was completely fucking shot. And I'm like, man, fuck this shit. I'm done.
Yeah.
You know, fucking. Don't want
Where was that? Back up north or what?
Yeah.
But yeah, he could do a fight.
Let's do it.
Yeah, do a little amateur fight.
Can you disclose your weight on the podcast though?
Yeah, sure. I'm like 285 right now.
So we get
cut
down to
down to 265.
Guys, I've said this on the podcast 80 times.
I like calamari too
I'll
much.
say it again. Yeah, I'll have a fight with anybody one time. I don't give a fuck. I've got my ass kicked for free. If somebody wants to pay me to get my ass kicked, happy for it. I'll be a tough night out for you. I don't care. I don't want to do it every fucking day.
Yeah.
The fact that you guys wake up and do this shit 2-3 times a day is lunacy to me.
It's crazy to me.
It's fucking nuts.
I know guys that have
Fucking
never,
fun.
that
It's
never had
insane.
a fight, bro. I was in a house once that had a gym, and there was a guy I know hitting the bag, and he's like, "Is this right?" I'm like, "Have you never hit someone?" He's like, "I've never hit someone. I've never been hit in my life." And they were in their 30s, and I was like,
Make kids fist fight again.
"What?"
Yeah,
So
look at
There's
the
something
shirt.
very important to knowing
Hey.
that you're not going to die. It makes you not conflict averse for the rest of your life. Like, there's practical applications. Maybe you're not going to be a professional fighter, but there's practical applications to being able to stand up for yourself, you know, have your voice heard. There's a confidence that you have just in every day.
It's
You know what I'm
reality.
saying?
You get
It's
confronted
reality.
with reality.
Do you do it, Mickey,
know?
where you're in a restaurant and you look around, you're like, "Yeah, I could kill everyone in here."
I have. Like, I remember as like when I first started doing jiu-jitsu as like a teenager and like training, and you know what I mean? Like, I'd done a little boxing before that, but I remember like walking like through a mall, and it's like, instead, like when you're a kid, you're like, oh, you know, all the adults could probably like kick your ass. But I remember I was probably like 16. I was like, yeah, I'm like a shark amongst seals in this bitch. If shit pops off, like,
Y'all better
you
be
know what I
careful,
mean?
though. 'Cause
Joe Rogan used
y'all
to
better
do-
be careful because you're in Florida now.
yeah.
So
Yeah, a lot of
you
peace out down here.
you guys can kill everybody who isn't tactically
know what I think would be great? I want to get a power slapper on the show. I invite, this is an open invitation to any power slapper. I'd want one of the best ones too, because I've seen a power slapper put like like two pictures on their page. I was gonna call it a meme, but there's a picture of Francis Ngannou and a picture of them, right? And they were like, people wouldn't believe that this guy would beat this guy in a slap match, and I'm calling bullshit. I'm calling bullshit. I can't think there's too much technique to slap fighting. I think you use your legs, use your ass. You know what I mean? You try and hit on the fucking jaw or like, you know what I mean? Like trying to, I don't think there's, I don't know how they practice it. I would but I also don't know.
They're definitely cheating going
would-
like the Hamite bone, right?
Yeah,
They're
pulling that back a little bit.
Yeah.
I would love to have one sit down, and I also would like them to slap with G and let G
this
get the
motherfucker
first
just wants to
slap.
get me smacked.
And look,
That's
I'll
all he
tell
wants.
the guy this. I'll tell the guy, look, if you do that with G, you could do MMA with me, and I won't even hurt you. I'll do
This
it. I'll
is
do it.
fun for you in both ways.
You have
Like,
to
what the
bring me
fuck?
so I can catch him. I just need to beat
Look,
him.
I'm just saying, we'll let this guy hop into your sport. and
Why
I'll
would
hop
I
into,
ever
you can
let
hop into my
somebody
sport,
hit
and I won't even hurt you.
Why would I ever let? That's the thing about the slap thing. I don't like. Why would I ever let you hit me? Like the
Yeah,
whole
I know.
point
It
of
doesn't
this-
seem. It seems kind of crazy
I'm
to
not,
me as well.
No.
Yeah.
What the fuck? And now,
But for the fucking bit and for like the viral moment, you'll do it.
You gotta get the chalk. You gotta get the chalk for the slap.
But you know, like how you'd see the video where it'd be like a big body or a picture of a big bodybuilder, and then they'd show like Cormier or like Chase Hooper or like someone who like doesn't look like they're in great shape, and be like people wouldn't believe that this guy would absolutely destroy this guy. That guy put this guy, I don't know who it is, but he put one up of Francis Ngannou and him.
God.
And he said this guy would whoop this guy in a slap fight, and I'm calling bullshit, but I could be wrong. I would love for a slap fighter to
they
come
flip
in.
a coin, right? Someone has to go.
Are they called a
first, so-
slap fighter?
If you
Because slap
literally-
fighting is different. That's like what we grew up doing, like
Yeah.
slap boxing. You know what I mean? I
don't know.
This is power slapper.
I like watching the chicks though. The chicks, there's something hot
Is that
about
right?
this.
They're called power slappers. So I want one to come on the show and educate me. Let me know. Tell me. I want to hear the technique. I want to
Are
hear
you getting smacked here too, or?
No, I'll let them
that was
enter
a
my
quick
sport.
no. That was a quick no.
No, of course not.
No, he's comparing
Of
you to
course not.
Ngannou. He's comparing you to Ngannou.
Yeah, can't this guy take a
Bullshit.
fucking compliment?
You're gonna be the Ngannou to.
I'm saying my guy.
To fact check that.
My
One of
guy
the
will
funniest
do your
things.
game, and you can come and do my game, and I will not hurt him. I will subdue him gently. make them, quit, and I won't hurt them at all.
The funniest thing, we'll go out. People like see me, especially if I got like a little pump after the gym. They'll be like, "Oh, I wouldn't want to mess with you," and then he's stand there behind him, like, "Yeah."
But I bet he has to say something, right? He's
I never say a word.
I
never say a word.
I normally.
I'm always like,
you got to gas up your boys, bro. It's for the boys. You got to gas them up. I'm like, I'm not the one you got to worry about. Fucking, that's it.
It's like I'm not professionally violent.
And the boys professionally violent.
Joe Rogan used to talk about that. He's like, it's crazy how the average man, they just think they can fight, like with no training. And he says, like, I wouldn't go and challenge someone to play tennis. Like, I've never played tennis in my life. And there's people out there that have never fought.
It's a very good.
Well, it's a primal thing.
It's a primal thing, right?
You know what I mean? We all have that in us. We all have, like I said a lot, like all of our ancestors, everyone walking around, I believe one of our ancestors has had to kill another person to keep their bloodline alive. We all come from, killers, so to speak, from fucking, you know what I mean? Like from badasses. If your bloodlines, if you're alive, you had a badass in your bloodline that kept you alive.
Or very conniving.
My grandma killed someone.
Really?
Really?
So yeah, there was a war, right? Where my grandma's from an island called Cyprus. So the Turks invaded it, right?
Yeah.
And she was in the house with the kids.
I might have had some Cyprus in my genealogy.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, I might have.
No
I think
way.
it was like a small percent.
Crazy. It's a small island. But a Turkish soldier walks in to the house like with his gun. All the kids were running up the stairs. Apparently she took like a big plant pot and she dropped it on his head and broke his neck.
Wow.
Wow.
Crazy, right?
What accuracy.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
She's like, 1 degree left.
When I said my grandma killed someone, he was waiting for the story like, oh, how? Like, knife,
Yeah,
what?
that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
No, it was a plant.
Dropped
a
a plant.
Just goes to show you.
Yeah.
Big and strong as you are.
Yeah.
Fucking pussy gonna take you out when it wants to.
Yeah.
So my grandma dropping a plant pot on Ngannou's head.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, if you get them by surprise, I mean, anyone could die. If history's shown us anything, any man could kill any man. But
Have you guys?
You know what I mean?
You guys have met Navy SEAls?
I think so, yeah.
yeah,
You met Army Rangers. These aren't like physically imposing people.
Yeah.
They look like cross country runners almost. These aren't. It's their tactical knowledge.
Yeah.
It's their ability to ascertain weakness. I mean, it's like, it's a whole different level of shit. Yeah, like fucking, you put a guy from SEAL Team 6 in fucking shorts and 4-ounce gloves, put him in the cage in your terrain, he's going to be in trouble. Literally everywhere else on Earth, under any other circumstance, you're not the top of the food chain
But then
anymore,
I
bro.
do have a rebuttal for that because it's like, my buddies in London used to say this to me, like, oh, you train, yeah, I'll poke you in the eye, I'll kick you in the nuts, I'll fucking get my knife out. And I'm like, bro, I can fucking kick you in the nuts too.
Yeah.
Except I can fucking kick.
Yeah, but
Like,
people,
bitch.
people are 14,000 times less effective with kicks in the nuts than they think they are, though. So there's
But you know what I'm saying? Like when someone says to me, oh, I just poke your eyes out. I'm like, bitch, I'll poke your eyes out quicker,
saying- but-
harder. And
Hammerhead is saying that though. Like who's
people
saying
say
this?
that, man. Oh, that jujitsu shit. I'll just fucking shoot you. I'm like, bitch, I'll shoot you quicker and faster.
yeah.
I'm faster than you, bigger than you, and I got better hand-eye coordination.
My car's better than you. My clothes better than you. My sneakers better than you. My bitch hotter than you. I talk better than you. I talk better than you.
I love that.
So outside of gassing up rubiesflowers.wi.com, I want to finish today's episode with 3 things you're grateful for, Mickey. What are 3 things you're grateful for? We're going to end on something of gratitude.
All right. One thing I'm grateful for is the fucking sunshine, the beautiful sunshine. Without sun, without light, nothing exists.
Thank you for sunshine.
Nothing
Thank you
exists.
for
If
rain.
we don't have lights and sun, there's nothing. You know what I mean? Can't
I like
see
that.
anything.
I like that.
But also, it feels so good on your skin. You know what I mean? It's a beautiful thing. Another one I'm grateful for are friendships that are like family. You know what I mean? Like your friends that are like you know, like that are like your brothers. You know what I mean? Like I think like those relationships are important, and that's kind of like to the what is it? Blood of the covenant is thicker than water of the womb. Like a lot of people say like it's like blood's thicker than water. They like bastardize that saying. It's like people you like your boys that you like, you know, we train together. We you know, we spill blood. We go to war together. We that type shit. Like my boys like LJ and Billy D. Like that's blood of the covenant. You know what I mean? Those are like my brothers.
Interesting.
And a third thing,
While you're thinking of that, you just gave me an interesting thought. I listened to Dennis Prager said something the other day that I thought was very interesting, that the idea of the 10 Commandments is flawed. The first commandment is, thou shalt not kill. But it's apparently a mistranslation. The Hebrew word that was used was murder. Thou shalt not murder. Very, very big distinction between thou shalt not kill and thou shalt
that's
not murder.
war. That's why warriors don't go to hell.
I thought that was very interesting.
Soldiers don't go to hell.
I've never heard that presented in that way before. The 10 Commandments is the idea of thou shalt not kill presents the world of being a pacifist, regardless of anything. You can't kill. You can't, no self-defense, no anything. You can't kill an animal. You have to be a vegan. No, it's not. It's not thou shalt not kill. It's thou shalt not murder. Very interesting. That
changes the whole outlook.
It kind of does change it a little bit. And that kind of, with the blood of the covenant, gave me that kind of thought there. And what's your third
one?
Thing you're grateful for?
That God just made me so beautiful.
I knew he was going to do something.
Oh, shit. I'm grateful for humility.
I'm the most humble you'll ever meet. Just ask me. I'll tell you.
All right. You got anything you're grateful for? You're on the way out?
We're all going to do 3 fucking gratitudes.
Just one.
I got 3 things I could do.
Go for it.
I'd say.
And everyone listening, you should do it too. Think from a place of gratitude.
Ongla and Sang. He's
great guy.
The Burmese Python, he's a beast. He's fighting May 5th. Tune in, guys, in Denver. He got me. I traveled with him the last 2 fights. He says grace every meal. And I started doing it this year. I hardly ever miss a meal anytime I eat. And it doesn't have to be a religious grace. Like sometimes the food comes down in a restaurant and I'm like, I just look at the actual plate and like the tomato, the fucking chicken, whatever it is.
So I've eaten with Ong a bunch of times and he must do it on the sneak.
Yeah.
So I never noticed.
Probably. But I think about where it came from. Like, damn, this tomato came from fucking California. Some old Mexican dude fucking planted it with his family recipe.
Yep.
I just think about the origin of the food, and I'm just grateful for it that we have the means in America, and I had the money to buy it and the time to sit and eat it. And I'm like, man, and I think about that.
So there's a guy named Ruslan who we've had on the podcast. Great guy out in California doing great things, and we disagree. I'm agnostic. He's very, very Christian, and he kind of changed my mind about grace. And I always he's like, we went out for lunch. And he's like, you mind if I say grace? And I'm like, absolutely. He's like, we got into a little debate about it, and my perspective of it was like, and this maybe just be the Roman Catholic upbringing, it's like you got to check the box with Sky Cop before you eat. Like, thanks, Sky Cop, appreciate it. It was always like, what the fuck, man? Like, you're just kind of going through the motions.
Sky Daddy.
Yeah.
That's what Sigmund Freud called it.
Thanks, Sky Cop. Thanks for not locking me up. But he had that perspective. He's like, no, it has nothing to do with it. It's appreciation and gratitude for the effort of people that brought this food to you.
Yeah.
Somebody farmed this food. Somebody planted that seed. Somebody drove that truck. It's an appreciation and a gratitude of what it takes to bring this to you.
One chicken perioded these eggs.
But that kind of mentality of gratitude is, corny as it may sound, and as much as I don't like organized religion, I do like mentality, and the difference between prayer and manifestation is just perspective, right? People like manifest as you're praying.
It's the same as if someone makes you a coffee, you say thanks to them. Like they went and fucking
It's gratitude. It's gratitude. I got a little nick on my car the other day. I've been really trying to practice this, and I'm like, what the fuck, man? This rental car, shit's gonna be such a pain in the ass. And as I'm pissed off about it, I pull out of the lot and I see this dude hit a pothole, and the whole side of the car is just like wrecked. And I'm sitting there like, man, this could be a lot worse.
Dude,
you know what?
That's so true.
This could be a lot worse, dude.
Yeah.
My
I
little
see that.
dick's
I'm
not
reminded
bad.
that every day at Barwis when I'm doing my PT for my back. And I see people in there who are having to be helped up out of wheelchairs and all this shit. Like, it's, there's nothing to complain about, man.
Well, there's things to complain about, but it's just perspective.
No, there isn't, bro.
Yeah.
If you call yourself a half-ass stoic, there's nothing to complain about.
Fair enough.
Nothing to complain about. Either do something about it.
Either do or don't.
Or
you can raise awareness about them.
Second thing I'm grateful for is my fucking Glock 43 and living in the Sunshine State. the gunshine state.
There you go. Freedom. We'll just call that
the Second
freedom.
Amendment.
We'll call it freedom. No Second Amendment in Britain, bruv.
Britain, bro.
You know why there's no First Amendment in Britain?
Why?
Because there's no Second Amendment, bruv.
Yeah, that's a fact. And the third thing I'm grateful for is Big Trouble in Little China, because that's a great fucking movie. That's a great fucking movie.
Shout out John Carpenter. Shout out Kurt
I
Russell.
feel like you need
I
to.
beg to differ, my friend.
You need to watch it together so you can make sure.
We
he's
did,
still
and I
paying
was like,
attention.
"Fuck it."
You know what the problem was? He was completely sober. We'll take him. So we'll get him all
Dude, that
shroomed up,
movie's
watch
a
it again.
fucking
All of a sudden,
classic.
it'll open his eyes of perception.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, man. That's it. That's
Where's yours?
What about yours?
I am grateful for you two fine gentlemen elucidating me on the world of professional violence. I'm grateful
Elucidating you?
for elucidating me.
Elucidating?
I'm grateful for vocabulary, and I am grateful to Omri and Christian for producing this great show
That's such a fucking
on their
cop-out.
weekend. Thank you guys for coming in on genuinely, thank you for coming in on your off day and helping us out, helping work this out after I was away last week and accommodating me, man. I really appreciate you guys. Really grateful for my family, my father's health, especially after that health scare. Really, really grateful for being able to spend the time that I've been able to spend with them, and I'm grateful for each and every one
I'm
of
happy
you
your pops is doing well.
that's listening and help. Dude, Mick, we're up over 15,000 followers on Instagram, and we got over 5 million views, man. This is only 30 episodes in. This is a fucking rocket ship, and I'm grateful to be a part of it. Love all y'all. Thank you, Rudy's Flowers, TheADSide.com, for playing the Bills. This has been a long episode.
Wait,
and it was
I got one
fantastic.
more, though, for TUCO. You obviously are going to come back soon, right?
For sure.
Who from the gym do you think we should have on? Who else from Kill Cliff Fight Club you think we should have on? I feel like we got to get King Henry up in here.
That would be great. But you got to get him loose and like telling his stories, because Henry's got so
Well,
many
I don't know how
fucking
many stories he's going to want to
That's
tell.
the thing, man. No one wants to like.
I got to ask. I got
even me, I got crazy stories.
Now,
like,
we'll have some have to have some beers up in here with
Yeah,
him. We'll have
Henry
him on a
likes a
beer
beer.
cast. Yeah.
But it's like, I would never tell half the stories I have, because it's like, fuck.
Yeah.
I don't want anyone to know that shit.
Yeah, certain stuff we got to keep close to the vest.
Well, the show's going to be around for 10 years. Episode 1,000, when you don't
let's
have
go.
your career to worry about
go.
anymore. You can then you can.
But I don't know.
Right before you drop the tell-all, you come on and we'll sell the book for you.
Deal.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I don't know. Everyone's so like straight and narrow in the gym.
So who do you think would be fun? I also think I want to get Jared Gordon on.
Jared's got a
Jared would be
story,
great.
Yeah. Trying to think who's funny.
We're going to get Vicente on because Christian loves him.
I need Big Swarm in here, bro.
Yeah, what the fuck, Linton?
Big Swarm, bro. I want to hear his stories of training.
Let's get Linton on and let's try find him a wife, because he's 40 years old. He needs to settle down.
I got a feeling that's a decision he's making.
Yeah. I got to feel like he's not hurting.
Get him on and try get some live callers in to like.
Well, I want to hear the
Live
stories of
callers
him
is
training with.
something.
He told us he trained with Top G, Andrew Tate.
Yeah, get him to talk on Andrew Tate.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe try and get Linton on this week. I'll give him a call when we get out of here. The three of us will give him a
Let's
little
go.
call, give him a little push.
I love
But
it.
anyone else? Anyone from, you think that,
Trying to think who's crazy and funny. I don't know. I'll have to circle back.
all right. Well, fuck yeah. Slick and thick, baby.
Let's go.
Welcome, Tuco. Thanks for coming
you.
on. Thanks for
Thank
the
you,
eggs,
man.
brother.
Appreciate you guys.
Thanks for bringing in the red coat.
Enjoy.
Oh, dude, where can they find you?
Find me. I thought you meant find the red coat.
No. Where can they find you, man?
I'm not big on the social media. I'm on Instagram at TUCO.
You got a good
300.
Instagram.
Yeah, but I stopped, like all the censorship, I stopped posting the political memes and shit, because it's like, they just fuck you and hide your page and shit. So, yeah, at TUCO 300, that's it, man. I don't have any Snapchat or TikTok, none of that shit. I'm low key.
Well, follow us everywhere else, because, we have to. Follow us on Instagram, YouTube. We got a new TikTok now, right, Aubrey?
Oh, we're on TikTok now, huh?
Unfortunately, yes, we have to do TikTok.
Yeah, it's slick and thick. Here, there, and everywhere for everybody. I'm Gerard Michaels. That's Mickey Gall. That's been TUCO. Check out the rest of Gas Digital. We will see you guys on Monday. Peace.